Okay. Magandang gabi po mga katipon sa Pilipinas. Ito po ang Ating Katipunan. Muling sumasa inyo mga tagapakinig upang magbigay ng halagang impormasyon, magbigay liwanag, at higit sa lahat makinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro hinggil sa mga problema patuloy na nagpapahirap sa ating kalagayan at kabuhayan. Sa susunod na oras, isikapin po namin paliwanag ang iba-ibang bahagi ng ating ekonomiya at ang mga mabibigat na local and international issues na may malaking epekto sa ating buhay at kinabukasan. Ito po ang inyong katipon na si Butch Valdes, sa kasama natin ang ating co-host na si Itos Valdes at ang mga iba pa natin kasama dito sa mga katipon natin sa Save the Nation, Philippine LaRouche Society, Partido Politikal ng Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino. Andito po si Roxanne at si Vel at si Bido. At kami po dito ay nag-aangaya sa inyo na makibahagi sa ating talakayan sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang problema at paghahanap ng kaukulang sa solusyon. Okay, this week was a very busy week internationally and locally. Marami po tayong mga issues at bagamat dito po sa ating programa, lalong-lalo na kami ni Itos dito, minamarapat namin talagang talakayin yung mga hindi tinatalakay at hindi binabalita ng mahusay sa ating mga mainstream media. At kasama na rin mga ibang mga online or social media. Ang amin po tinutukoy dito itong mga ibang mga mabibigat na nangyari dito sa nakaraang panahon. Katulad po ng inumpisahan namin last week. Yung pagsabay-sabay, halos sabay-sabay, that means 7 months ago, nagpadala ng mga raketa itong 3 bansang ito papuntang Mars. Lahat sila papuntang Mars. Ito pong China, US, tsaka ang United Arab Emirates. Can you imagine ba? Itong isang bansang ito, hindi mo akalain makakapunta sila sa Mars. At ngayon nag-orbit po yung kanilang satellite around Mars. Yung pong China nag-orbit din, di ba? Ilalanding ba ng China yung kanila? Pero yung para sa bansang Amerika po, NASA. At NASA, itong ano ba yung NASA?
Perseverance.
What does NASA stand for?
National Aeronautic Space
as agency. Okay. Yan pong NASA, meron po silang pina-orbit muna at nag-landing na naman po. Itong very pinakamalaking rover.
Yes.
Can you explain
This
dito?
is the 3rd mission, no, sa Mars. I think the late 90s, they had the first one. Tapos maganda po kasi this is the 3rd mission pero the most siguro ito na yung pinaka-modern at pinaka-magaling na rover na pinadala nila. The first 2 parang trying to see ano yung pwede saan mag-landing. Tapos maganda po dito, yung first one, I forget the name, pero yung second one is Curiosity.
Right.
Then the third one now is Perseverance. Tapos they landed different parts of Mars. Tapos itong
Galileo yata yung isa.
siguro Galileo, I think. Basta, maganda po, may videos po tayo na papakita sa inyo mamaya. Pero this is the culmination of siguro 20 years of studying and sending probes and looking at paano pag-aaralan, exploring the universe po. Okay, so, and they sent it to Mars, alam niyo ba, Earth, and then Mars, di ba? Right. Venus, Earth, Mars. So the next planet farthest from the Sun, itong Mars, tatawag na red planet. And we know a lot of things now about Mars, more than we've ever done before. And itong latest na Perseverance na tawag, nakalanding po sila. Nako, mamaya sa video papakita natin, napakagaling maglanding.
Okay. Hindi, pero bakit ba natin pinipili na pumunta sa Mars at mag-explore kung ano yung
Kasi nakapunta na tayo sa moon, di ba?
nakapunta na sa moon, no?
Yeah.
At because ang alam niyo po, katulad po ng for example, alam niyo na ito si Magellan, hindi po ba? Itong sila Christopher Columbus, di po ba?
During the Middle
Nung
Ages.
panahonan po nila, hindi nila alam kung ano yung nasa kabila ng mundo eh. No?
Kala nga nila.
Akala nung iba, flat yung mundo.
Tapos pag
Meron po nagsasabi na hindi flat yan, talagang bilog. At sabi nila Magellan, kung magse-sail kami ditong papuntang ganyan, babalik kami dito.
Right.
No? Dito kami babalik. Pag dire-diretso, dito kami rin pabalik.
bilog ang mundo.
So, ang sabi nila, bilog ang mundo. Yan sila, Christopher. Pero hindi nila alam po kung ano yung mga
Sa kabila.
nandito. So, bakit nagpumili? Dahil, ang ganyan po ang ating, human beings are like that.
Yes.
Basically, when asked, why did you go there? To find out what is there.
Right.
Di ba?
The
Ganyan
spirit
po
of
yan.
exploration.
Exploration. Kaya nga sinasabi natin yung isa curiosity ang tawag nila dun sa rover. To find out what is there.
Right.
But the other thing is, maski na nung sila Magellan at sila Christopher Columbus, to find out whether that other world, the other side of the world is livable. And that people can go there and establish colonies and whatever, no?
Yeah.
Ganyan din po ang spirit. Why man, no? Dito, nung nakita na natin itong ating mundo, at nakatingin po tayo sa
Sky.
sa sky. Nakikita natin ito. Pinag-aralan po natin yung mga planeta.
Right.
Ang pinaka kayang abutin po natin as of now is what we call the red planet. Kasi po pag tinitingnan po natin from the Earth, parang mapula-pula siya.
Yes.
No? Pero why are we curious? First, ang curious natin, tayo lang ba ang buhay na human
Beings.
beings
Creatures.
dito sa ating solar system?
Are we alone?
Are we alone? Pangalawa po, meron bang buhay doon at ang tao bang mabubuhay doon? No? Dahil kung ang tao mabubuhay doon, it's less like, so we now have two worlds to live in. Ganyan po ang direksyon. And in the process, itong magandang nangyari ito katulad nung sinabi ni John F. Kennedy, sabi niya, 10 years from now, we will land the man in the moon. Di ba?
1961.
So, inatasan niya lahat. Inatasan niya lahat ng mga
Kanyang mga scientifico, the scientists, engineers,
na gawin ang kanilang kakayanan para maglagay tayo ng isang man on the moon. At gusto niyang unahan dati yung mga Ruso, no? Kailangan na manuuna yung Amerika. But the science that went in at sa kanilang effort to try to, siyempre, ang iisipin mo, ano bang klaseng materials na gagamitin mo ng raketa papunta doon? Dahil mag-iiba ang panahon at papasok, masusunog itong ganito. What are the special types of materials you need? So they had to look and develop, invent new materials for this. In the process, they had to do it in such a systematic way. They came up with what we call managerial tools. Excuse me po.
Sige.
Hello?
ang maganda po,
Mag-ano ka lang dyan,
sabi ni
doorbell ka lang.
what we wanted to emphasize rin po is bakit natin dinidiscuss, bakit natin sineselebrate itong accomplishment na pag-landing dito sa Mars. Kung ano ko si Chairman is throughout man, yung mankind, ang tao po na nilalang ng Diyos, created in the image and likeness, has a special gift,
capability.
gift from the Creator to discover new things and how the universe is organized, and discover the principles which govern the universe. And through that function, through that organ of reason, they're able to propagate, they're able to enhance their own capability of living or their own standard of living. Without that po, para lang tayong mga aso, mga chongo. Pero because of that special creative power of creative reason, able to discover things. Right. And throughout the beginning of man, from the Greeks up to today, the spirit of curiosity and discovery has always been an innate part and parcel of why we are human beings.
Ito pong effort na ito, noon pa yung panahon pa ng mga Greko, panahon pa ng mga Egyptians, ang pag-iisip po ng tao ganyan, it's how does a human being,
Yes.
or how do I relate to the rest of the world?
Right.
How do I relate to the rest of the universe? Kasi pagtingin nila ganyan, ang dami-dami pang mga planeta, mga
Yes.
stars at that. Ano bang kinalaman nun dito sa akin? No?
Mahilig mag-osyoso yung human being.
All
Ano
the
ba
time.
nangyari? Ano bang nangyari dyan?
And in his effort
Right.
to try to understand
Yes.
that, no, nakaka-discover siyang what you call universal principles and processes.
Right.
Universal means meron mga parang natural law na tinatawag natin. So ganito pala ito para sa lahat. Ganito pala
Yes.
itong sistema para sa lahat.
Always true at all times.
Gumagalaw po tayo, wala pong duda na talagang gumagalaw tayo. The universal process,
Yes.
di ba po? Tapos dito, pag nakuha mo pa yung universal, diyan tayo nagkakaroon ng development of science naman. No?
We called it science. Yes.
Then we called it science.
Right.
Tapos every time we come up with scientific discoveries, no? All the time ginagamit po natin yan para sa kabutihan at pampahusay sa ating buhay.
Like agriculture.
Agriculture.
So magpapakain tayo ng mas maraming tao.
Right. Tingnan nyo po, yung sinasabi ng agriculture. Natuklasan natin, ayan, may tumutubo dyan, parang mukhang bigas, no? Ginanyan mo, nakakain pala to, no? Tapos pag linagay mo sa konting apoy, naluluto mo, masarap pala ito.
Yeah.
Now, ganyan lang yan. Ngayon, alam niya na pag may ulan, dumadami.
Tumutubo.
Alam niya rin na pag may araw, no, mas magandang tubo, masagana. So anong gagawin niya? Gumawa siya ng paraan na palaging may tubig. Kung walang ulan, lalagyan niya ng tubig. No? At ito ang umpisa ng paglaganap ng pagdami ng pagkain. At pag dumadami ang kanyang kakayanan, pag mag-produce ng pagkain, dumadami din ang kakayanan niyang pwedeng magpakain.
Right.
So, scientific development towards this direction,
Yes.
always meant in the improvement of the capability of man to feed a bigger and bigger population, to sustain a larger population.
Yeah.
Ganyan po, di ba?
Yes. And the reason po nagdi-discuss po kami ngayon, bakit anong connect ng pagpunta natin sa Mars, na planetang Mars, na totoo po to, hindi to yung sa sinehan, Totoo pong nandun na tayo sa Mars. Yung totoo po, hindi po special effects to. So, anong connect niyan sa kinalalagyan natin ngayon? What is the connection of the achievement of man going to Mars to our political situation? That's why we need to discuss this. That's why, anong pa nagsasabi nitong mag-ama na to na nagsasabi about Mars, tapos po-connect tayo kay Duterte. Malalaman niyo po yan. You stay tuned for the whole 2 hours and plus. Mako-connect natin po yan. So, but now first, ano ba yung nangyari? What exactly happened? So we'll show you a short video. We have 2 videos here. Video number 3 and number 5. There. We have 2 videos. The first one, kung ano yung gusto nilang mangyari, kung ano yung plano nilang mangyari. So ito may simulation ng computer before they actually did it. So, para may intro
parang
tayo.
animation.
May animation. Sige. Number 3, yung our Perseverance rover.
Our Perseverance rover takes up residence on Mars, the space station's next commercial resupply mission, and a new date for a commercial crew test flight. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration.
On February 18th, our Mars 2020 Perseverance rover mission safely touched down on Mars.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
The rover landed in Jezero Crater, a region targeted for the excellent opportunity it presents to accomplish the rover's primary goal of finding signs of past microbial life. Within minutes, the rover's first images from Mars reached Earth, confirming Perseverance was A-OK. And even more images followed, including amazing views of the rover's descent captured by our Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and stunning views from onboard the lander showing how descent appeared from the rover's point of view.
You have to somehow believe that you can do it, or else you'd never try to put a car on the surface of Mars, right? It's crazy. But there really is no good way to describe that moment when it's over and you hear those words, touchdown confirmed.
This is the most advanced NASA rover to make the nearly 300 million mile trip to Mars. It's loaded with groundbreaking technology to help pave the way for future human exploration of the red planet. This includes the ability to collect and leave cached samples of Martian rock and regolith that a future mission being planned by NASA and the European Space Agency could retrieve and bring back to Earth for study.
This mission is amazing on its own. Science, technology, and caching samples to bring back to Earth. But it's also part of our bigger exploration plans, right? Which involve preparing for eventual human missions to Mars.
While Perseverance works to characterize the region's geology and past climate, there are also plans for the Ingenuity experimental helicopter to make the first controlled flight on another planet. Having a flying robotic explorer could be a huge benefit for a human mission on Mars.
Being able to fly will enable us to get to places that we cannot get to with rovers and astronauts, like sites of steep cliffs, deep inside crevices, areas of high scientific interest. It will be game-changing.
Perseverance will undergo several weeks of testing before it begins its 2-year science investigation of Mars.
And we have liftoff.
The February 20th liftoff of Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket and Cygnus spacecraft from our Wallops Flight Facility marked the start of the company's 15th resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA. The Cygnus, named after late NASA mathematician Katherine Johnson, is loaded with about 8,000 pounds of scientific research, crew supplies, and hardware for the station crew. An uncrewed Russian Progress supply ship arrived at the space station early Wednesday after launching from Kazakhstan on February 14th with just over a ton of nitrogen, water, and propellant. The Progress will be used to detach a Russian docking module later this year to prepare for the arrival of a new multi-purpose laboratory module. NASA and Boeing are now targeting no earlier than Friday, April 2nd for the launch of Orbital Flight Test 2, or OFT-2, the company's second uncrewed flight test of the CST-100 Starliner spacecraft to the International Space Station. OFT-2 is an end-to-end test to prove the Starliner system is ready to begin flying astronauts to and from the space station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew program. A lightweight robotic crane first designed, built, and tested at our Langley Research Center more than a decade ago is being upgraded with a suite of quick interchange tools, giving it Swiss Army knife-like capabilities that could prove quite useful on future missions to the moon. It can be used as a hoist or forklift to lift payloads weighing as much as an elephant, or for jobs requiring a bit more dexterity, such as scooping regolith or welding. The technology is also scalable to fit any size lander, vehicle, or surface application. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
When Curiosity landed on Mars in 2012, work began on the next Mars rover mission. Though Perseverance looks similar to Curiosity, it's a big step forward in technology and in our goals for Mars exploration. First, there was a lot to learn from Curiosity, both from its scientific mission and from how the rover performed on the surface. The engineers at JPL noted that Curiosity's wheels were sustaining damage from sharp rocks, so they got to work designing new wheels for Perseverance. And as Curiosity returned data to Earth, it provided information that helped shape the mission goals of Mars 2020. From here, JPL scientists and engineers designed the technologies they wanted to have on Perseverance, technologies to look closely at rock samples and to stash the most interesting ones, to look underground, to test the air, and to see every part of the environment around the rover. They built and tested these technologies: Sherlock, RimFacts, Meta, and they integrated them into Perseverance. On July 30th, the Mars 2020 mission was ready to go.
And liftoff.
The spacecraft lifted off the pad at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and began its nearly 7-month journey to the Red Planet. The Atlas V rocket lifted the payload into space and separated, completing the launch part of the mission. Now it was on its way, the cruise phase. The launch date was not picked randomly. Every 26 months, there is an optimal window when the trip to Mars is the most efficient. What we see here is the transfer orbit, a planned path between two moving objects, Earth and Mars. The spacecraft is traveling at about 50,000 miles per hour, or over 80,000 kilometers per hour. Because we know the exact distance, trajectory, and speed, we already know that we will land on Mars on February 18th. As we get closer to Mars, the cruise phase ends and the approach phase begins. On February 18th, we will begin entry, descent, and landing. Every part of this is autonomous. No human is controlling the landing. First, we jettison the cruise stage, which we brought all the way to Mars but don't need anymore. Now our craft looks more like the capsules that return to Earth. And even though the atmosphere is thinner on Mars, entry is still hot and dangerous. The capsule has to turn to an entry attitude, turning the heat shield to enter the atmosphere safely. Once we're inside the atmosphere, the goal is to slow down, which isn't easy in a thin atmosphere. Automated programming prepares for the jettison of the heat shield. Then the parachute is deployed. This slows things down a lot more. The heat shield is released. The surface of Mars is approaching quickly. Then the back shell and parachute is jettisoned, and retro rockets fire. Our descent has now slowed to a manageable speed. The camera searches for the correct place to touch down. Once ready, the sky crane activates, lowering the rover to the ground. Once sensors indicate that the rover is safely on the surface, the descent stage separates and does a flyaway, crash landing far away from the rover. And here we are on Mars.
Grabe.
Yan po yung nakikita niyo po yung kakayanan po ng tao. No? Imagine, dito po mag-around the world ka, it will take you about 5,000 miles. Maybe about 5,000 miles around the world. No?
Yeah.
But the trip of these rockets and after landing in Mars took, as you heard it, 300
10 million miles away.
300 million miles away. No? Just isipin yun, 300 million miles away. Tatamaan mo yung Mars. No?
Tapos hindi lang straight yan, di ba? Nakita mo yung orbit.
Sinetsempa po nila. Yung pinakamalapit pa yon, no?
Diba?
Pinakamalapit pa dahil umiikot po yung, nag-orbit po yung Earth at nag-orbit po yung Mars. Sinetsempo nila, pag pinakalapit dito, tsaka nila isushoot yung raketa natin. At kalkulado na po nila kung anong araw dadating sa Mars. No? At anong araw maglaland dito. It's fantastic po. It's mind-boggling for many people, but this is science. This is true science.
This is real science, right?
And at nakikita po natin, they are now getting samples. Nakakatuwa pa. Meron pa silang nagawang helicopter, kung nakita nyo po, na magbibigay ng much more advantageous exploration sa Mars dahil yung pong nakikita ng naka-rover dito, hindi po yung nakikita ng nandito. Marunong na po tayo mag-drones, no? So nakukuha po natin yan. And we must understand also that the signal that we give to the rover and to that helicopter, no, I think it takes 30 minutes to reach there.
Yeah.
Kaya may time lag dahil sa napakalayo, padala ng signal to go up, it takes 30 minutes to reach that and then magre-react lang yun.
Yeah. Kaya sabi nga nila, automated po lahat. Ibig sabihin, kalkulado na. Wala yung nagpa-pilot. Wala po yung nagde-direct kung saan. Yung ginagawa nilang papasok sila sa atmosphere, may tinatawag na heat shield kasi mainit. Tapos naka-timing yan at naka-computer program po yan. Aalisin. Tapos bababa yung
retro rocket.
Tapos bababa yung rover. Kaya sobra silang saya kasi hindi nila kontrolado yan. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng calculation nila tama. Right. And where Perseverance landed po is far away from where Curiosity landed. Tapos tinarget po nila yung, dahil sa ginawa nilang Curiosity noong 2012, nung naglanding ang Curiosity doon noong 2012, nag-umpisa na sila sa project na to. So 8 years ago. Okay, nag-umpisa na sila itong next project with better technology, more things because nagpadala na ng mga images itong Curiosity. So mas alam nila ngayon yung topography kung saan tayo lalanding. So tiniming ulit nila yung ganon. Tapos mas malaki tong Perseverance, para siyang SUV. Hindi siya yung maliit na Curiosity lang.
Curiosity parang jeep.
Jeep.
Pero yung parang SUV na.
Malaki. Tapos marami pang dala. So it can calculate yung climate. It can look at the samples. Magdi-drill po siya. Magle-laser drill po siya sa baba. Tapos makikita niya yung mga age ng rocks. Ganon. Tapos makikita nila. Tapos, meron pa silang laser dyan sa Perseverance.
Laser gun.
Laser gun na pag malapit siya sa rocks, kailangan makolekta siya ng sample, titirahin po niya yon.
Tapos mag-splinter ng maliit na mga...
tapos kokolekta nila yon.
Kokolekta nila. Tapos we analyze, tapos papadala sa Earth.
Papadala sa Earth. Ngayon,
Ang dami po nilang magagawa dyan.
Oo.
And it will be operating for 4 years or
Yes.
for 4.5 years.
Yes.
Magtataka kayo, paano nila napapa-operate yun? Kasi gumagalaw-galaw, ganyan-ganyan. Alam mo po ang electronic, yung mga electronic yan, di ba po? Dati, binalagyan nila ng solar panels para nakukuha nila yung energy sa solar panels. Ang solar panels po, nakita nila, umubra mga 2 weeks. Pagkatapos po ng 2 weeks, wala nang kuwang signal. O paano, maraming alikabok o dust. Yung Martian dust storms.
Natabunan siya.
Natatabunan yung solar panel, hindi na sa sun. Hindi na makakuha ng rays ng sun. So, ang ginawa po nila, itong sa Curiosity, tsaka itong sa Perseverance, they have nuclear batteries.
Imagine.
yung sa Perseverance, it's smaller. And then yung sa Curiosity, it's smaller. And was going to give it a life of about 2 years. Kanya hanggang ngayon, maandar pa yung Curiosity. Pero itong Perseverance, ang estimate nila, 4.5 years of stored power in a nuclear battery. Ganyan lang, maliit lang po yun, na para pong baterya ng kotse. No? Can you imagine that? And it's fantastic the way they were showing it in the animated form. No?
Tsaka kalkulado na Yun yung Tapos kita mo lahat sila, napakasaya. Yung mga scientists, engineers, sobrang silang saya kasi nagawa yun. Never po nagawa yun ng tao. Ng history ng tao, never po nagawa yun.
I was commenting kay Itos, and na-notice ko, because I was already in, when was it, high school or college noon. Nung nakita ko yung pagpunta sa moon ng Apollo 11, Apollo 11 yata yung pumunta
Yung
sa
rocket.
at nagland dun si Neil Armstrong.
1969.
So ang makikita mo yung buong yung alam nyo yung control center. Yung control center, makikita mo nandun. Halos lahat puti, tapos meron konting mga colored people, mga itim. African-American. I noticed that now, I just realized, pero kung ma-close up itong mga nandun, alam nyo po, ang daming Asyano. Yung ibang nagko-comment. Of course, they're Asian Americans. No?
They studied there.
I am willing to bet that some of those people are Filipino Americans. No?
There are a couple.
Yeah, and I'm happy for them. No? That they are. This is really sa Amerika po, iba-ibang nationality na ngayon, ethnic background, at all of them are participating in this. And imagine one day, maybe it will not take even a generation. They will see, and we will all see, kayo pa, baka buhay pa kayo dyan. You will see a man land in Mars. And maybe in about 2 or 3 decades from now, the start of the construction of the kind of architecture that is needed for Mars to be inhabited by human beings. These are all happening very fast, and it's so sad that if you look at the other side of what our world is facing, everything is towards the destruction of this future. Everything po is towards the destruction of this world. And yet this one assures the continuance of the human species. Kasi diyan po nangyari. Ito pong sinabi ni Trump, siya po nagpopondo nung NASA at sinabi niya, we have to land in Mars. No? At yung po dyan po talagang ginanahan yung mga tiga-NASA dahil nabigyan sila ng budget. Because naiintindihan po nung dating President Trump na ito ang kinabukasan para sa mankind. No? Hindi lang para sa Amerikano, para sa lahat po sa atin. No? Yan yung kinabukasan. Meron na nga silang plano na imbes na manggagaling dito ang raketa papuntang Mars. Kasi matagal po yan, biyaheng yan aabot po ng 300 million miles Aabot po ng mga 7 buwan, 6 to 7 months. By that time, that trip, the human being cannot sustain being in space. No? Ang plano nila, pagdating dito sa moon, no, mag-establish tayo ng base, ng base dito sa moon para makatira doon din ang mga tao. Pero yung base na yan, it's going to be a launching pad, no, for human beings to be able to go to Mars. And if you launch from the moon, because of the much less gravitational pull, and because of the you will be using a different fuel, maybe nuclear fission fuel or nuclear fusion, we will be able to make the trip in 1 week. No? 1 week lang po ang trip doon. At sabi nila, at least buhay na buhay pa yung tao. No? At malakas pa. Para pong yung dati, di ba, papunta tayo sa moon, it took about 5 to 6 days, I think, to get to the moon. No? So, ganyan din po ang biyahe papuntang Mars, only a different technology. But that is the future of human beings. That is the future of mankind. No?
Yeah.
Exploring space. And tayo, can you imagine? We hear China also doing this thing. United Arab Emirates doing this. England is also readying its
Space program.
Space program. France is also readying its space program. Russia is, of course, doing the same thing. Can you imagine if there was one body of all of the scientists of the world moving towards one goal? No? How much faster we're going to be able to do this? At least maybe in my lifetime I'll see a man on the moon, on Mars.
Yeah.
But the way it's going, hindi na siguro ako aabot, no? Pero kung magsasama-sama at wag maggera-gera, wag magpatayan, wag magsiraan dito, wag silang tawag dito yung geopolitics at
Huwag silang magbakuna.
wag magbakuna. Yun siguro ang kaya natin gawin. That's why it's so sad.
I wanted to add lang. Yung technologies po na nakikita natin for a colony that can survive within tinatawag nilang a bubble, nandito na po. Kaya where do you think the technology and the research from hydroponics came from? Where do you think the technology is from aeroponics came from? Walang soil. So they just had to use water. So you can, in hydroponics po, may gulay ka na, may isda ka pa.
Right.
Tapos wala kang pinifilter mo lang yon, umiikot lang yung tubig, nabubuhay ka na. So meron na tayo niyan. And all of this was discovered when we went to the moon. Kasi anong kinakain nila sa space? Wala namang soil. Ano yung reaction ng gulay sa space? Yan ang mga tinetesting, yan ang mga scientific discoveries na nakikita natin. Chemistry, cellular communications, lahat po. Imagine po, in Mars, which is farther away, sabi nga nila, you establish, mag-isip na po tayo ng malawakang, mag-isip po tayo. Base sa Moon. Kung gusto mo pumunta Mars, papadala tayo ng yan para sa mga astronaut or from all countries. After that, punta sa Mars 1 week. Doon ka, scientific experiment, lahat ng doktor, lahat ng engineer, lahat ng gano'n. Finding more scientific discoveries, trying to see kung mas maraming pwedeng gawin dito. Ano ba yung ibang mga elements or materials na bagong ma-discover sa universe na hindi lang dito sa Earth. So there is a lot of things that can be done and can be done well. Sabi nga namin, kung magsama-sama lahat ng nations ay wala nang inaatupag kundi scientific discovery ang kanyang goal ng each nation. Hindi depopulation, hindi gera, hindi one world government. Magsasama-sama each nation, contributing all your humanity's intelligence and abilities. Siguro in a year or two, ang dami-dami na napupuntang Mars. Kasi may capability na po tayo. Alam na natin yung technology. They're sending it, happy na sila. That will only improve as they go along. And the speed in which that is discovered will be cut in half. The time to discover. Kasi alam mo na eh. Nandiyan ka na eh. Tapos papadala ng mga sample itong Perseverance back to Earth. May bago tayong madidiscover niyan. Bagong technology, bagong energy sources, bagong lahat. That is the exciting part of it. And to go to the point of, sabi ni Chairman nga, nakikita niya, iba't ibang nationality nandun sa NASA control room.
Tsaka mga bata.
Oo, mga bata.
Mga bata.
Definitely, puro mga engineer yan, computer scientists, puro mga physicists yan, nuclear physicists.
They look like they're in their 20s.
Right.
Early 20s lang.
And that is, sabihin na natin, they all studied in the US because NASA. Sabihin na natin, they all studied in mga Institute of Technologies in their countries. Kasi you can apply for NASA. Mag-a-apply ka to work there. Pero silang kinukuha ng NASA, yung pinakamatalino talaga.
Matalino lahat yun.
So imagine if each nation has a space program. Imagine if each nation has a space program and getting the best and the brightest. Mag-imagine po tayo, if the Philippines had a Philippine space program, okay? And then they would get from all yung mga Philippine Science Philippine Science High School. Diba? Yun ang programa natin eh. Makuha natin the best and the brightest. Tapos kita natin, mas magaling naman tayo dito sa Malaysia. Magpadala tayo rocket sa Mars. Yun ang competition. Hindi siya yung patayan.
At hindi po malayo yun Kung lang kung hindi tayo sinira ni Corazon Aquino. I have to ask you about. Remember, Indonesia may space programs like that
during the 80s. Tapos sinira sila ng IMF.
Sinira ng IMF. And each one, because of the NASA and because of John F. Kennedy saying we will land the man on the moon, the whole world got excited about it and started putting courses that involve science, nuclear engineering, physics, and ganyan-ganyan.
Kasi posible na.
Because ito na this is the future Tapos, pinatay si Kennedy, sinira yung nuclear program ng sinira din yung Apollo program ng iba-ibang mga presidente at mga Instead, pumunta sila sa gera. One of the stupid arguments na Bakit ano yan ang pakilamin natin yung sa Mars eh? Ayusin muna natin yung problema natin sa Earth.
Dito muna tayo.
That's crazy. Dito muna tayo magpatayan. Yun ang ibig nila sabihin. Ba't pa tayo pupunta dyan? At pakita na yung sinong mangingibabaw sa lahat ng sangkatauhan dito. This is really stupid. No, you can, and you will, what we're saying, if the United States and Russia and China collaborated in order to go into space exploration so that their scientists and so that the rest of the world will benefit from the new discoveries to improve the quality of life of human beings here while we are trying to go to Mars. Collectively, magkakagera ba dito? Magkakagera ba dito kung gagawin mo yan? Ipagsama mo sila sa isang common goal, common project.
Yes.
We're working together for whom? For the rest of mankind.
And we will share what we...
Of course.
The knowledge.
Kasi sa kanila lang merong capacity ngayon ng ganyang kalakas. Ganyan na rin yung BRI, yung Belt and Road Initiative. Ipapag-connect mo by magnetic levitation trains and all of that, fast rail trains. 7 continents of the world you will connect by land. Trains that can go up to 1,000 kilometers per hour. You can go around the world by land, traveling almost just as fast as an airplane. Can you imagine that? Yan yung BRI. Yan yung Belt and Road Initiative na pinopropose po ng mga ibang mga bansa. 130 countries already signed up. Ganyan ang gustong buwagin ng IMF at lahat ng mga, bakit? Ayaw nilang sasama dito ang Amerika. Mawawala ang control nila sa mundo. At hindi nila makokontrol. Gusto sila kasi gusto ng mga British at mga bankero, mga deep state, silang nangingibabaw sa mundo.
Wag na tayo lumayo. You mentioned BNPP.
Yeah.
The program. Diba?
Yeah.
What you said about the mothball, yung hindi nila pinabuksan, diba?
Right.
Hindi nila pina-operate yung ating Bataan nuclear power plant.
That's how can you imagine if that thing operated?
Yes.
No? And Marcos lived a little longer, no? So that hindi naman tatapos. Yung whole effort natin na yan, no? Would bring us to a level of development. It's almost unbelievable. You look at South Korea. Kasi sa kanila, pinaandar nila yung kanila, pareho-pareho nung natin. Tayo, hindi natin pinaandar. Ano nang gawa ng Korea ngayon? They have, instead of 1 nuclear power plant, they have 22 nuclear power plants and still building 8 more within the next 10 years.
Yes.
No? And what else is South Korea doing? Never mind already, alam na natin, marami silang Hyundai, maraming
Heavy
mga
industries.
Kia, maraming boats, building, lahat na sa cellphone lang, nandyan na sila lahat. Ngayon, ang laki ng science nila, ang development nila. Tayo would have been the same or even better.
Even better.
You know, our strength is that we are internationally linked by our language. No? We are internationally linked and we have very quick adaptability. Ang feeling ko talaga, kung natuloy yun at hindi pinigil yan, baka tayo by now will be sending rockets to Mars for exploration.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Because yung what the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant represents, ito na, kinoconnect po natin slowly, pumupunta na tayo dito. What is the connection of the achievements of science and technology by the Perseverance rover dito po sa atin? Okay? what the Bataan nuclear power plant represented was a leap forward in our ability as a country to develop scientific, economically, and even politically for our people. That's what isa lang yan pero yung plano po ni Marcos, di ba, was two 630 megawatt plants in Bataan. In Bataan, just in Bataan. Pero yung gusto po namin, may paper po na sinubmit and authored by Chairman and other people, yung Renaissance Philippines, right?
Yeah, we submitted the proposal to President Duterte.
Right.
Several. I don't even know whether it has reached him because marami siyang mga alipores na nag-block dito sa mga ganitong klase.
Magaling magbantay.
Ang sinasabi po natin, kaya po natin magtayo ng nuclear power plants hanggang 10 ang maitatayo natin within a 5-year period.
Right.
No? Kasi po, yung isang nakita nyo po yung picture na Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, brand new po yan. No? Pero kinakailangan na siyempre gagastusin mo pa ayos na muna para kang merong brand new na Cadillac na hindi mo ginamit na malaking kotse at brand new pa siya dahil hindi mo ginamit. So kailangan bago mo i-start yan, ayusin mo muna yung ibang mga items para mapa-under mo. And it's not going to take too much, maybe between 500 million up to a maximum of $1 billion. Okay. Pag napa-under po yan, no, kumikita yan, nag-charge, gumagawa ng kuryente. Pag benta ng kuryente, yung pong kinukuhang income niyan, kasi wala na pong utang yan. Binayaran po natin yan.
Yeah.
We've been paying that for the last more than 20 years.
It's Cory.
Without that plant producing a single watt.
Right.
And we paid it because Cory natalo sa kaso sa Westinghouse. Dahil hindi niya sinunod yung kontrata ng Westinghouse. May kontratang Westinghouse. Eto, gawin mo, tapusin mo itong nuclear power plant. Pagdating po ni Cory, sabi niya, ayaw niya. Paano ngayon yan? Sabi ng Westinghouse. Meron tayong kontrata, tapusin namin yan kasi nakahanda na kaming tapusin yan. Gumawa na kaming mga equipment para dyan. So, kinasuhan po tayo. At ang lawyer niya noon, si Sagisag, natalo po tayo. And we were paying, in effect, about $170,000 a day for 20 years. A day for 20 years. Kanya ang total cost ng ating nuclear power plant, imbes na $1.6 billion lang, naging more than $4 billion dahil dun kay Corazon Aquino. At hindi natin pinakinabangan maski isang watt, isang kilowatt.
Ready na siyang, di ba?
Yeah.
Ready na siyang buksan at that 630 megawatts. Sabi nga nila, pag bumisita po tayo dyan sa Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, sabi ng mga managers doon, ng Napocor, sabi niya, pwede mo paandarin yung buong Makati City, 24/7, aircon, ilaw, lahat. For how many years? Ang nuclear power plant po, hindi, ano yan? The latest technology, I think 70 years bago mo papalitan yung fuel.
Yeah.
Isang buong life ng isang tao.
May gig pang Makati, actually Metro Manila.
Metro Manila.
It will light up the whole Metro Manila.
Only one 630.
Yang isang plantang lang yan. No? At hindi lang yon. Meron pa tayong mga gagawa dyan sa mga nuclear power plants. Nakakatayo tayo ng desalination plants. Ang desalination po, ang gagamitin pong heat nito, hindi yung ginagamit para sa kuryente. Ito yung nag-evaporate lang sa himpapawid. Pero pag ma-harness natin yung maliit na porsyento lang yon, Gagawa po siya ng desalination plant. At yung desalination plant na yun, kukunin yung tubig alat, gagawin pong potable water.
Pwedeng inumin.
Pwedeng pangsaka.
Yes.
No? At yung potable gaano kadaming potable water po yan? Alam niyo po kung gaano kadami? About 50 million gallons of water a day. 50 million gallons of water a day. Isa pong malaking ilog yan na itutulak natin sa Central Luzon para sa mga magsasaka at sa ating mga kinakailangan na tubig na hindi na tayo kinakailangan pala naghihintay lang sa rainy season para magkaroon ng tubig. No?
So besides electricity,
water.
na mas libre, di ba? Mas mababa. Parang virtually libre for 70 plus years. May tubig ka na, na hindi mo babayaran, extra. Nakikita po natin yung usok dyan sa nuclear power chimneys, or what do you call that? Anyway,
Those are the cooling ano yan.
hindi po yan pollution. That is just heat.
Cooling towers lang yan.
No, yung smoke.
Nga.
Smoke is just the heat.
Ano yun, the reason it's smoking is because you pass water.
Right.
You water over the heat. No? So syempre nag-i-steam. Ganyan po yan. Wala pong pinag-iba yan sa isang sa pressure cooker. No?
Sa sauna. O sa steam. Steam bath. Pero that is what it is. Hindi po yan pollution. Okay? So that's very clean. And yung nuclear power plant, ang pagkaintindi ko, Chairman, is when you're only using 3%,
yes,
right, of the processed fuel for nuclear energy.
Of the enriched fuel.
Enriched fuel.
And 97% evaporates.
Yes.
That's what we are saying. You only get another 2% of that evaporated heat and put it into desalination plants. Yung desalination plants na yun, ginawa po ng IAEA modular. No? Each plant can produce 13 million gallons of water a day. Each plant po. Pwede ka po maggawa ng desalination. Pwede mo pang ipagdikit-dikit yan so that we can produce up to 50 million gallons of water a day. Ang laki po ng epekto yan sa ating mga magsasaka. No?
Alam mo sinong gumagawa na yan? Di ba yung Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia.
They're building.
United Arab Emirates po.
Puro disyerto yan.
Puro disyerto kasi sa Middle East
So they need this.
In Jordan, maglalagay sila ng nuclear power plant para sa kanilang kuryente. These are oil-producing countries.
Yes.
Marami pong langis nila. No? Halos libre na po yung gasolina niyan. Pero gagawa sila. Bakit? Para sa kinabukasan.
Right.
No?
Kasi
alam nila, baka maubos yung langis.
Tayo, hindi pa nakaumpisa yung bukas. Bumalik na tayo sa Stone Age.
Kasi yung ating pong negosyo, yung ginawa pong negosyo, yung public utilities.
Right.
At binigay po dito sa mga oligarko.
Because the plan of Cory and Ramos and later Gloria was the end the world. Ito po yung New World Order, One World Government. Ang gusto nila, deregulation, globalization, privatization. So yun po yung policy. Nung tinanggal na po si Marcos at yung mga policy niya, isa-isa tinanggal. Policy of industrialization, energy development at lahat. Food production. Tinanggal po yan. Ginawa tayong OFWs ng mundo. Tayo po yung ginawang alalay ng mundo. Lahat ng engineer natin, kinuha nila. Lahat ng ibang natin, kinuha nila. Mas daw. Tapos, naging service economy tayo. Hindi na tayo nag-produce. Sabi nila, mas okay yung position yung ganyan. So, tinanggal nila lahat ng industrial projects, tinanggal nila lahat ng plano for development. Saan na tayo ngayon?
Service economy.
Saan tayo umabot?
We can't feed ourselves. No? except because of the OFWs.
We are now one of the highest, or if not the number one net importer of rice in the
Right.
world. Vietnam is the number one net producer of rice in the world. Di ba kalokohan yun?
Ito dapat po, itong isa pang dinagdag dito, itong 11 industrial development projects ni Marcos, na papasukan niya to because we have enough energy resources.
Supply. Expected niya yung nuclear power plant.
Number one, yung integrated steel mill, gawa ng bakal. Ito po palaging pinapag-usapan natin, integrated petrochemical complex, no? Integrated pulp and paper plant, no? Integrated coconut industry, copper smelters, aluminum smelters, phosphatic fertilizer. Para sa pagkain po yan, no? Cement industry expansion, diesel engine manufacturing, nuclear power plant, and the alcohol development. Alam niyo po, madadagdagan pa po natin yung mga yan ngayon. No? Pero ito po ang gustong pasukan ni Marcos noon dahil alam niya masusustain ng ating energy development plan. No? Pero kung sinira mo yung energy development plan at ginawa mo lang tayong tiga-import ng langis, no? At ganito na lang, no? As privatize mo pa yung ating energy generation, napakamahal po ng kuryente sa atin.
Paano kang gagalaw?
Paano kang mag-industrialize? No?
Pati mga tatayo daw sila ng mga tren, tatayo daw sila ng mga... paano mo naman yan? Mahal lang electricity. Napakamahal. So, how will you run it properly? So, that nuclear power plant, yun po yung umpisa, I think. Yung pagpunta natin sa maldevelopment or no development. That was our crossroads po. Either we go here and develop and have more industries. Kasi nanganganak po yan ng ibang mga capabilities and industries.
Right.
Tapos, dito tayo pumunta. At pababa ang antas ng buhay.
Yung sinabi ko nga nung isang nagtalumpati ako sa isang IAEA conference, I suggested that Marcos was taken out because he had this nuclear power plant in mind that we were going to start it. No? At as soon as Corazon Aquino came in, among her first act was to mothball the nuclear power plant.
Mothball po, sinarado.
Sinarado, pero hindi po sinira. Basta nakasarado lang.
Mothball ang tawag po dyan.
Yan mothball.
There are only two in the history that were mothballed. One in France and us. In the history po ng kasaysayan ng mundo, dalawa lang po nuclear power plant. And because of politics.
Yes.
Not because of capability, not because of technical, it was because of politics. Na may mothball.
I remember I also suggested in that speech that when the Philippines was stopped from going nuclear, so did the rest of Southeast Asia.
Right.
Because alam niyo po, si Marcos was the leader of the ASEAN. No? Whether he was the president at the time of ASEAN or not, he is still seen as a leader of the ASEAN. Malakas po ang hatak niya at saka ang leadership niya. At nakakasiguro po ako dahil lahat ginagaya palagi siya. Kung magtatayo siya ng nuclear power plant dito, hindi malayo na magtatayo din ng Indonesia, magtatayo yung Malaysia, magtatayo yung Thailand, no? At eventually magtatayo din yung Vietnam at mga iba pa. And you will see kung naka-nuclear power plant lahat ng mga nations na South, you can see how powerful the Southeast Asian region will be economically. At kung powerful tayong ganyan, hindi tayong kayang tulak-tulakin ng mga Amerikano katulad ngayon, tinutulak tayong manggera
Or other countries,
sa
yes.
China or other
Or
countries.
other countries,
Right.
UK,
Yeah.
America, China even, because we are the strong bloc.
Kaya
So,
importante sa kanila na hindi tayo mag-develop.
yeah.
Kailangan labanan natin yan.
And now Vietnam is building their own.
Kaya kasi, nakita na nila at gagawa na sila, di ba?
Yeah.
Tayo, nandyan na nga, ayaw pa natin paandarin.
Yeah.
Bakit? Kasi hawak ng oligarko. Pag pumasok yung nuclear power plant, bababa ang presyo ng kuryente, ayaw ng oligarko yan.
Maalala niyo po, pagpasok po, pag-upo mo po ni Presidente Duterte, sabi niya, titignan po nila, seryosong titignan ang pagbubukas ulit ng Bataan Nuclear Plant at developing a nuclear program kasi naniniwala po siya na ang nuclear is the way to go.
Common sense eh.
Right.
No? Pero hindi nga alam na yung tao niya dito sa energy, si Cusi, no? Bata ng mga oligarko, bata nila Boitis, bata nila Ramon Ang at kung sino-sino pa. No?
Basta yung mga oligarko.
Tapos hindi lang yan, pati na rin sila Benjokno, pati na rin sila Dominguez. Ang amo nila mga oligarko, yung mga oligarko may hawak sa kuryente at tubig.
Right.
No?
Nakikita sila doon. So, ba't nila...
Pag pinasok mo itong nuclear, bababa ang kanilang dahil napakamura po ng nuclear.
Tsaka ilang taon yan, ilang dekada yan, ilang dekada po yan, hindi nyo, kahit patakbuhin nyo na ng 24/7, hindi papatak sa metro yan, constant yan. Walang So, kami po, hindi po biro ang pagkasarado or pagka-mothball ng nuclear power plant. Doon tayo nagkamali as a nation, pinayagan po rin natin, di ba? Pinayagan natin, naging masaya yung buhay natin kasi maraming import, maraming at nanonood tayo ng mga teleserye, gano'n. Hindi natin binigyan ng pansin.
Ang sabi nila, tinanggal daw si Marcos dahil daw para malawak ang demokrasya. Demokrasya ba ngayon na alam natin ang may hawak sa ating buhay at hawak na rin nila kung sinong mamubuhay at sinong mamamatay. Hawak na rin nila kung sino ang magiging opisyal natin sa gobyerno, presidente, vice-presidente, senador, congressman. Hawak na nila yung COMELEC.
Right.
Hawak na nila yung mga tollways. Hawak na nila ang kuryente, tubig,
Yan,
at telecom. Hawak nila. Nakasakal sila sa taong bayan. Tapos ang tawag natin dito, demokrasya. No? Ano ba? Masyado na tayong ginagawang tanga. Kanya po tayo nagtayo ng organization laban dito. Hindi lang po oligarko ang kalaban natin. Ang kalaban na po natin talaga, oligarko at ang kanilang kakuntsaba sa gobyerno. No? And we have to do that. Now, I just wanted to go back to this, the impact of science. And tayo po, wag natin bibitiwan to. Ang kagalingan po ng Pilipino hindi mo maalis. Kung meron 500 nuclear power plants na umaandar sa buong mundo, I would say that most of those 500 nuclear power plants have Filipino engineers working in them in various levels of responsibility. Nandyan po tayo. No? Alam natin, marunong tayo. No? At kaya natin makipag sa mga ibang bansa. So do not worry about capability of running it. No? We have that. And if we make these moves for science, makikita nyo po mag-a-adjust yung ating educational system. naglalagay na naman ng mga kurso na may kabuluhan. You will have engineering, you will have physics, you have all kinds of science types of projects to enhance and inspire our youth to move towards that, because they will be not only beneficiaries of the future, they themselves will create the future for their own children. Ganyan po ang ating direksyon dapat. And our leaders must think along the same lines.
Correct. That's why we have to emphasize. We've shown, pinapakita po natin at parati natin sinasabi dito, paulit-ulit po. Kailangan mag-imagine kayo, kunyari nakikita nyo po yung Korea, South Korea. Hindi po malayo na ganun rin tayo kung pinatuloy natin yung ating energy development program in our nuclear. Because ang nuclear power plant, hindi lang po papatayo yan. Meron tayong, you have to have a nuclear regulatory commission. You have to have a nuclear research institute. So may mga kasamang planning, training, and education programs. Imagine sa UP or other public schools, may nuclear physics na kurso. May ganun yan, nakasama yan. Kailangan yan. So we will develop our own engineers, just like other countries are doing now. Yung sinasabi nga natin last week, pinakita natin yung I think Sarah Amir, or yung sa UAE na science, she's only 34 years old. She's head of the space program. Siyempre, nag-aral siya sa international school sa
Saudi
UAE.
Arabia.
Pero, nakipag-collaborate siya sa mga ibang estudyante at scientists all over the world. And in UC Berkeley and Stanford, mga scientists nagko-collaborate, nag-share po sila. Same thing sa Pilipinas. Ngayon po, wala. Ang pinapag-aralan nila, environmentalism. Ang pinapag-aralan nila kung paano yung epekto ng global warming na hindi naman, na napakalamig ngayon.
Tsaka hinahatak nila yung ibang mga bata ngayon sa UP, dinadala nila maging komunista.
Yes.
You can see, no?
So it's not science, and it's not tinanggal nila yung pagka-scientifico ng Pilipino. And yun, when having a robust scientific community and scientific research and development industry dito sa any country needs that to be able to move forward. Without that po, hindi tayo magde-develop. Without the nuclear energy, it is a present and known universal principle, ang nuclear power po, na ginagamit po ng buong mundo. Tayo po lang dahil sa politiko. Dahil kailangan kumita ang mga businessmen dito. So that's what's happening to us. Doon po tayo nagkamali. Doon po tayo pumunta. Kailangan bumalik tayo.
Pero we must understand po, and we know, and dapat maintindihan po natin lahat, na itong galaw na kabutihan, no, hindi lang po nagmumula sa katangahan ng mga leader natin, di ba? Kasi meron din pong kalaban itong ganitong klaseng pag-iisip. Ang kalaban po natin ay yung mga ibang bansa at mga ibang tao at mga ibang institusyon na ayaw nilang magkaroon ng kaunlaran ang iba-ibang bayan, katulad po ng atin. These are the enemies of mankind. They do not want us to develop, because if we develop, we gain independence from them. We gain economic independence. Hindi na tayo namamalimos sa kanila. Hindi na tayo humihingi ng utang sa kanila. Dahil habang humihingi tayo ng palimos, habang umuutang tayo sa kanila, kontrolado kanila, di ba? Sila magsasabi kung anong gagawin mo.
Yeah.
Pero pag meron ka ng kaunlaran, you can stand up and say, we don't need your help. And we can think for ourselves. Now, those people are the enemies of humankind.
Yes.
Because marami po tayong bansang ganito. At ang Pilipinas ang isang kanilang pinupuntirya na wag magiging independent.
Right.
Katulad po ng ginagawa sa atin ngayon. Di ba? Gagawin tayong halipin. Kung hindi ka susunod sa aming gusto, hindi ka namin bibigyan ng US aid. Di ba po?
Ito nga lang yung sa COVID lang
COVID.
Nakita niyo yung balita. Sabi ni Galvez, di ba? Sabi ni Galvez, nahirapan daw kami kumuha ng vaccine. Dahil sabi po is, ayaw nila magbigay kasi daw may kaso. May kaso yung Denbaksya, so natatakot daw sila. Tapos sabi nila, kailangan may indemnity clause. So obviously, ang sinasabi nila ngayon, para tayong hina-hold hostage ng mga to. Kasi sabi nila, hindi ka namin bibigyan kung may ganon. Tapos, the next day, si Presidente Duterte, sabi niya, ito na, may indemnity. Pasok niyo na.
Paano ibig sabihin na anong mangyayari sa Denbaksya?
No, yung rason daw, why they're not coming in, natatakot daw sila, baka kasuhan sila.
Sasabihin hindi kayo kakasuhan?
Hindi kayo kakasuhan. On top of that, hindi kayo magbabayad. Kami magbabayad kung may side effects, yung Philippine government. Yan ang nasa press release. Sabi ni Harry Roque, di ba, Bear? Sabi ni Harry Roque, sabi niya,
sirang ulo talaga.
Tayo pa magbabayad kung magkakasakit kayo, ang gobyerno pa ang magbabayad kung sakaling magkakasakit kayo dahil sa bakunang ibibigay sa inyo.
Doon sila natatakot kasi yung ginawa nila sa Denbaksya, pumatay silang maraming tao
May kaso.
Diba? Alam nila na itong kanilang mga bakuna, papatay din ng tao no? So ito ang ginagawa nila. No? At tayo naman pumapayag na wala silang kasalanan. Government natin ang magbabayad kung merong problema. Yan mga yan, hindi mo pwedeng itaga sa bato. Kasi pag hihintayin mo ang gobyerno, bayaran ka dahil namatayan ka. Mamamatay ka na at mamamatay ka na, dagdag na doon sa namatayan ka, hindi ka pa rin mababayaran.
So hindi tayo makagalaw as a government. Imagine hindi
hostage.
tayo hostage nga. Yan ang sinasabi ni Chairman. Because we didn't develop our sovereign capabilities on our own, because our leadership has failed us. Has failed us.
That's true.
All of these decades. Fail talaga. Pero ang dami nilang pakyut. Pero fail talaga sila. Okay? They failed the Filipino people. They failed the future generations because they denied them. They denied them a future that they can look forward to with the general welfare. This is what happened to the Philippines po. It's not a matter of personality. It's a matter of policy. Hindi po dahil Marcos kami. No, it has nothing to do with that. Kung pinatuloy ni Corazon Aquino yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant at nagpatayo pa siya ng iba,
bida siya.
Bida siya. Nakadilaw pa kami ngayon. Diba? Pero hindi yun It's not that Nakakagalit po kasi parang pinatay mo yung susunod na henerasyon. Pinapatay nyo. At pinapayagan pa natin. Ngayon, hindi na alam ng gobyerno natin anong gagawin nila.
Buti sinabi mong pinapatay nyo yung susunod na henerasyon. Talagang pumapatay po ng tao itong mga programang nilang ito. When you deny
through
the
legislation,
just through legislation or with the sign of a pen, you will starve people to death. And you know it by doing economic policies that will promote poverty. You know that it's not just that they get poor. You know that there will be more people dying.
Right.
And you do it purposely. Ang tawag po dyan, genocide o kaya depopulation.
Right. That's intentional po. Yan po sino-connect natin. why do we celebrate the achievement of man and how it is connected to our own situation? Konektado po yan. And the more people understand this po, the more that ang taong bayan, they get to see this, the faster we will go to the right path. Kasi nilisan tayo. Lumihis tayo sa the right path of development. Huwag po tayong maguluhan o huwag po tayong distract sa mga personalities po. Ang titignan po natin kung ano sinasabi nila. Meron ba, which we will say, meron ba mga bagong politiko? Kahit si Sara, kahit yan si Bongbong, kahit sino dyan. Meron ba nagsasabi along these lines na yung development? Meron ba nagsasabi na government has to take charge of the public utilities? Meron ba ang nagsasabing kailangan may national infrastructure program tayo na 25 years? Kailangan i-revive yung nuclear power ngayon din? Para sa taong bayan.
Mayroon bang lalaban sa mga oligarko at bubuwagin ng kanilang hawak na hindi na tayo makahinga ang mga mamamayan natin?
Wala kayo
hindi na kaya,
diba?
no? Itong privatization na ginawa nila, mayroon bang politiko at mayroon bang partido na gagawa nito?
Wala po, di ba?
Ngayon, wala po. No?
Yung nag-iisang partido na nagsasabi nito, yung pinaka-pobre na partido sa sa Pilipinas.
Yung KDP.
Yung KDP. Pero pobre kami sa pera, pero mayaman kami sa ideas.
Kasi tayo lang po ang nagtutulak ng ideas. Yan pong mga iba. Pati na yan, yung mga advisor ni Duterte, President Duterte. Kawawa po ang presidente dahil linoloko siya, no?
Right.
Itong si Carl Chua, sasabihin niya magbubukas na daw ng mga negosyo dahil po may bakuna. Alam po niya, alam din natin na palagay ko ng Pangulo, yung bakunang yan hindi mag-aayos ang ating ekonomiya. Hindi aayos yan.
Yeah.
Kasi wala pong ginagawang pamamaraan para magpaandar ng engine ng ating growth, no? Yan pong tinutulak po natin na i-take over po ng gobyerno ang public utilities. Tapos ibaba ng malaki by at least 2/3 ang electric bills tsaka water bills. This will boost the economy kasi yung savings po ng tao tsaka savings ng negosyo para mo silang linagyan ng kapital, no? At yung kapital na ilalagay mo dyan, maski gaano ka pa, maski araw-araw po hihiram si Dominguez sa mga bangko, hindi niya mahihiram yan dahil napakalaki. Tsaka ito pong may bibigay natin na ito dahil nag-take over ang gobyerno sa public utilities. Hindi po utang. Hindi po inflationary dahil hindi naman po natin nag-imprenta ng pera. No? At kung hindi inflationary at hindi utang, no, ang laki pong tulak sa boosting our economy. This is not just an economic survival for our people who are dying now of hunger. This is an economic recovery program.
I wanted to say, it is also para mong kinuha mo ulit, kayo na may control sa buhay nyo.
Right.
Okay, so parang kinuha po natin ulit, sabi natin, nagkamali tayo since 86. Ito, 2022, 2021, kunin na natin ulit, babalik natin sa taong bayan ang kinabukasan nila.
Right.
Yun ang that's the significance of Article 12. So it can be done. There will be immediate benefit,
right?
Which is the help Filipinos survive, but it sets us on the right path towards the future. Also,
sinabi po namin, let us take back the country that has been stolen from us.
Right.
via the privatization.
Right.
It was stolen from the people. Not only did they steal it, we kept on paying with our lives, no? So that they continue with this.
Hindi, ninakaw nila, binabayaran pa natin sila.
Oo nga.
Diba?
With our lives.
Oo.
No?
And the lives of the unborn, the future. Diba?
Yeah.
Because our capability po na pakainin ng taong bayan ay nawala. Wala na. So that's what we're looking at. That's why po importante. And that's the connection. Dapat po yung achievement in science of man. We should look at that and say, bakit tayo wala nun?
Right.
Bakit sa Pilipinas wala? Kaya naman natin eh. Bakit nawala? Saan tayo nagkamali? Bakit maraming MIT, di ba? Maraming mga technological institute, science institute. Bakit marami tayong ganyan before? Saan na nakikinabang yung mga yan? Saan napupunta? Ika nga ni Chis Escudero, di ba? What did he say before about education system? Na wag na tayo mag-train ng mga ng mga scientists and kasi mag-train na lang tayo ng mga, di ba? OFW. Remember, he said that. Sabi niya,
yun yung pag-iisip niya.
Yun daw yung dapat yung education system na lang yan. Kasi para kumita ng pera. Yun na, wag na tayo mag-isip ng science courses. Wag na tayo mag-isip ng ganyan. Magpunta na lang tayo sa mga
tulak mo sa OFW. O tingnan nyo po ngayon. Kung sundin natin yung mga sirang ulong senador na ganyan. Tingnan nyo po ngayon. Biglang nagkaroon ng worldwide COVID. Tapos, etong mga OFW natin, no? Na hindi makabalik dito, pero kinakailangan bumalik na sila dito. Dahil nahihirapan na. At ang ginagawa po ng gobyerno natin, halos pinipigilan natin bumalik. Dahil wala tayong may bibigay na trabaho dito, tapos tayo pang mapoproblema sa gobyerno dahil papakainin mo pa yan. This is the problem. No? But if you have a economic development program, ito pong sinasabi natin, okay, pag inako ng gobyerno ang public utilities, kunin natin sa kanila, kayong mga oligarko nandyan, kukunin ng gobyerno ulit dyan. Anong gagawin natin sa oligarko? Itutulak natin sila dito sa mga industriya na kakailanganin ng ating bansa.
Hindi sila mawawalan?
Hindi sila mawawalan. Ito yung steel industry, kanina minention natin.
Integrated steel
Ito yung
industry.
Pharmaceuticals, ay gawaan ng gamot.
Phosphate fertilizer.
Ito yung fertilizer, gawaan para sa pagkain. Ang smelting plants para sa ating mga minerals. No? At iba pang mga industriya, no, na kakailanganin natin dahil ito ang importante na sasalo sa mga nangangailangan ng trabaho. At hindi na natin kinakailangan silang i-export sa ibang bansa. Dahil lahat silang mga nasa ibang bansa, in a short period, we will all want them here.
Yes.
Because kulang tayo sa trabahador. No? And we will start moving almost maybe in less than 3, 4, 5 years. No? Mabilis tayong aakyat. Ang pag-akyat natin, ang pag-angat natin,
mabilis.
I am willing to bet will be faster than that of China.
Yes, I agree.
But we must be disciplined and we must have one focus as to what we want to do with our country.
Ako, sasabihin ko, kailangan maghanap tayo ng leader na ganyan mag-isip. Kung di siya ganyan mag-isip, ba't pa natin susundan?
Maghanap tayo po.
Diba? Kasi kung ito lang yung solusyon yan eh. So, yan yung sinasabi yung pinakita natin before na 11 industrial projects, integrated steel mill, integrated means from raw material to finished product, diba? All the way. So, lahat po, si South Korea, lahat na yan, meron siya. Yung US, lahat na yan, meron siya. Lahat ng advanced countries, lahat ng developed countries, lahat yan meron sila. At dumadagdag pa. Those 11 things are the basis for which you can do other things. Pero kailangan yan. Tapos nangangailangan ng trabahador yan. They need jobs, that creates employment.
Right.
Gainful employment for which you can pay taxes to government. Tapos isang buong buhay yan. You can stay there and retire, and our position, our fiscal position as government is a lot better. We'll find ourselves a lot better and healthier than...
Tingnan mo yung diferensya, 11-point industrialization projects of Marcos. Ikumpara mo ngayon, buhat nung kay Cory. Ano bang anong pinomote natin? Culinary arts, caregivers, nurses, ngayon call center operators.
Nothing against
Wala tayong
those guys.
mga talagang
Nothing against that.
Wala tayong, hindi natin minamaliit.
Hindi natin minamaliit yung mga yun. Pero no other choice.
Yung mga nandyan sa mga call centers, they could have been very productive finance officers, engineers. Kasi ang dami sa call center, mga engineers, tsaka accountants at computer. Mabibigyan po natin sana ng more productive jobs. Pero sinira nila itong mga leader natin diyan. Gloria, Noynoy, pinasukan nila diyan ang pinaka-industriya nila, call center.
Tapos ginagawa nilang mangmang yung tao through entertainment.
Yes.
Through mga ganyan, mga teleserye. Huwag niyo nang isipin yung ganitong malalaking idea na to. Pang mga edukado lang yan. Tayo, masa, dito tayo manood ng Vice Ganda. Yan ang ginawa po nila sa atin.
Sinira nila.
Sinira talaga nila. Wala tayong kultura na scientifico.
I just wanted to, before we start looking at, I just wanted to add, ang ating pong programa, ang Ating Katipunan, sinasabi natin ito, and you could see that we are, and then we opened up earlier to explain to you the value of science as to what man can do, no? If he is determined he can reach up to 300 miles away and land a robot, no, to explore that planet
remotely.
And then that will not be the only thing that we will be doing, because once we colonize Mars, then we are no longer Earthlings.
Yes.
We are Martians, no? And Earthlings, but we are part of a whole solar system which we will lay claim to.
Yeah. We are part of the universe.
And then part of the universe, because the universe is there for us to explore.
Yes. And only man can do this.
Right now, only man can do it.
Only man, not a dog. Hindi po tayo pareho sa aso,
Chongo.
at lahat.
Kung meron po kayong matalinong aso, pakita niyo po sa atin.
Minsan, yung mga ibang politiko natin, parang chongo kung mag-isip. Pero tayo po, as man, hindi tayo ganyan.
So, what are we doing? We are trying to suggest to you how to think and not what to think. No? Ang ating pong pag-iisip para sa ating bayan, no, ay dapat nakatutok dun sa palagi sa kinabukasan. Kasi kung wala kang goal sa kinabukasan, no, hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin mo ngayon.
Yeah.
It is the future that determines the present. If you know where you are going, no, you know what direction your first step should be.
Or where you want to go.
Yeah, and your next, and your next. Kasi papunta ka doon. Yes. That is the future, and this is what I have to do now. You want your child to become a doctor one day. So bata pa siya ngayon, inaano mo na, inuumog mo na, nurture mo na, para doon siya papunta. Ganyan po ang nature ng human being. Hindi po yung bahala na kayo sa kinabukasan. Bahala na kayo, walang. Hindi natin, sabi nila, we cannot see the future. You can.
You can.
Because you have the capability of vision.
Mankind.
You can imagine what it might be,
What it should be.
what it should be for your children.
Alam mo,
That is your vision.
Yes.
So don't say you cannot tell the future. You cannot tell the future if you do not know what to do today.
yung sinasabi po ni Chairman, kaya po siya nag-umpisa ng ganito. Pwede naman kasi siya na pa-relax na lang di ba? Pakain-kain ng mga honey, tsaka yung mangga na dito tumutubo. Pero ang parati niya sinasabi sa amin, sa mga anak niya, okay, is we need to fight for the future generations. Hindi pa niya kilala yung mga, hindi pa na pinapanganak. Kailangan ipaglaban na natin ngayon. Dahil gusto niya, ang future niya, yung anak ng kanyang mga apo, sinasabi niya, gusto niya na lumaki sa panibagong Pilipinas, panibagong mas magandang, di ba? Na may magandang kinabukasan at gano'n. Ganon siya parati mag-isip. Now, that is what man does. Ipapaglaban niya yung kinabukasan. Kaya nga yung partido KDP, di ba?
Alright.
Yung partido
Because if you do that, then may kabuluhan na pinanganak tayo ngayon.
Correct.
Kung ang iiwan natin mundo is worse, the life we are going to give our grandchildren is worse than what we have now. Bakit pa tayo pinanganak?
Correct. Ba't pa tayo nabuhay?
Sisirain lang natin ang kinabukasan nila.
Correct.
Ba't pa tayo nabuhay? Pero pag meron tayong may dadagdag, maski maliit lang po, para sa kabutihan ng darating, then there was value in living. Then magkaroon ng halaga ang ating buhay. Hindi ba po? No?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, good.
It's time to read the text messages sent to us by our listeners and viewers. Our
The opinions.
the opinion of our opinion is not necessarily the opinion expressed by our viewers, not necessarily our own. No? But we respect that, and we will read them to the public in the interest of freedom of speech.
Okay.
Rod Voigt.
Rod Voigt Pariabas. Good evening po, Katipunan. Mabuhay po kayo. Tuta talaga ng kano itong si Lacson. Tutol na magbayad ng mga kano tungkol sa VFA. Dahil mga Pilipino ang makikinabang at kailangan ng gobyerno ng pondo para sa pandemic. Watching you from Subic. Magandang gabi po, Katipunan. Buhay po kayo, Sir Butch at Sir Itos. Watching you from Subic. You want to read?
Always.
Okay. Angelo Redaha. Good evening, Sir Butch. Valdes watching from Malolos, Bulacan. Freddy Oredina. Maybe if still Smartmatic will be used in 2022, we must boycott election. Failure of election may be declared. New inventions propagated by space programs for convenient living by human beings.
That's right.
Christopher Cruz, go KDP at Camo. By the way, regards to Miss Vivian Velez, she is awesome and very intelligent. Keep up the good works. Let us help each other to make our country lead a better path. Okay, Chris. Susan Rosales, good evening, Father and Son team, watching from Japan.
Gusto ko lang idagdag pala, Chris, para din sa ating mga si Vivian Velez po ay officially nagsanib na po sa atin dito sa pagtutulak ng kamao, no? At kasama po sa ating pag-iisip at sa ating puso, no? At we welcome her and we are so grateful that she had decided to join us in this whole effort for the good of our countrymen. So we salute Miss Vivian Velez.
So in relation to that,
we ask you to sign the petition for President Duterte to declare a state of emergency to take over the public utilities.
You can find the statement sa atin po sa YouTube at sa Facebook ng Katipunan ng Democratic
Tap
Philippines.
the link lang.
May form na yon. So sign nyo lang.
Nasa Facebook at saka sa YouTube yon.
Yes. The link is there.
I-tap nyo lang yung link. Dadali na kayo doon.
Okay, Cynthia, Marian, Cleo, Aniceto, mabuhay ang KDP, God bless. Japanese Sahi, good evening po mga sir, Saritas, Sir Butch. William Laguno, gandang gabi po. Mayat Fuentes, God bless sa inyong mga sir. Mark Shenes, may possibility ba na may creatures ang Mars at ibang planet?
Well, sa akin pong palagay, pag sabi nila, pag meron daw tubig, baka daw meron organic life,
Right.
no? Pero kung hindi po natin alam, no? Pero there are no signs of parang beings like us, no?
Yeah.
Kung meron man siguro mga kalaki ng insekto, kung meron man, no? But we don't know.
Yeah, tsaka yung sa Mars po, ang na-discover nila so far, over 20 years of Mars, it's very dry and very inhabitable. Hindi po inhabitable ng life yet. Wala po silang natutuklasan na tubig.
Meron daw under the surface.
Yeah, which they're trying to see kung gaano kalalim kasi po parang Earth po yan. Over the centuries po, over millennia, natatabunan po yan. So, you can get clues pag inaral nyo po yung parang cross-section yan, nakikita nyo kung ano yung natatabunan. At kung may tubig, kasi kung may tubig na discover, ibig sabihin dati, mas parang kung may tubig yan, ibig sabihin may carbon, may oxygen. Ngayon po wala. Okay. Federico Mana, wala naman problema basta si Trump na presidente sa March. Sana nga. Cesar Soberano, present, watching from Mars, the red planet. Yeah. So enlightening your lecture or lesson for today. Our supposed leader should be the one able to think for solutions to our problems concerning national survival.
That's right. Alam mo, Cesar, since you said watching from Mars, the red planet, one of the videos I remember from our organization, LaRouche, you know?
Yeah.
It was a, how do you say, parang acting lang, no?
Parang dramatization.
Parang newscaster, no? Yung babae, sabi niya,
Kunwari.
this is DWWL, sabi niya ganyan. Broadcasting from Mars. Hello, Earthlings. Ganyan po ang newscast niya. At tinikwento niya kung ano yung mga nangyayari, kunwari sa Mars. It was a pleasant and nice
And this was done how long ago?
it was done in 1980.
Imagine po 1980. Pero ang LaRouche po, parang inaano niya yung tao na mag-imagine na gano'n. Na possible. And now it's very possible.
Yes.
Di ba kasi ngayon, di ba, yung pag-akyat ng mga astronaut sa space station pala, nagpapadala sila nagpe-press con sila para siyang video call. Pero nasa space station po sila na HD pa, na napakaliwanag. So it's possible in the future. Very near future. Gimgal, punta sila sa Mars para manggulo ulit at manira na panibagong planeta. Yes, we're going to go and colonize Mars, Gimgal. May iwan ka dito, pwede. Lourdes Nakajima, si Bill Gates may bahay na dyan.
Sa Mars.
Dodong Chang, ngayon lang makita ng mga amboy, mga that ng Amerika. Edgardo Gaya, 61 years old na po ako, newly graduate ako nung magtrabaho dyan sa nuclear power plant sa Bataan. Pero hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin pinagana. Mabuhay kayo, KDP. Alam nyo, you're a treasure.
Mr. Edgardo Gaya, I don't know if you know si Fidel Correa, who was the general manager of the nuclear power plant then. That was nainatasan magpaandar ng nuclear power plant for 2 weeks. Pinaandar niya po yan like a test run for 2 weeks to see whether they were going to generate energy. At binantayan po siya ng regulatory board ng regulatory agency, yung Philippine Atomic Energy Agency. No? At it was successful. But that is as far as it went because after that, nagkaroon po tayo ng EDSA revolution. At sayang po, maraming magandang storya po si Fidel Correa, pero yumaon na po siya about 5 years ago. No?
I think from now on, we shouldn't refer to it as EDSA revolution. We should call it the Soros Scholar Revolution.
Oh, yan, pwede.
Diba? Sa Pilipinas, nauna yata tayo.
Kay Soros kasi yun.
Kay Soros talaga yan, tsaka kay Malok Brown, diba? All of them. So I think let's forget about EDSA revolution. Rise and shine. Sabi nila, hoax lang daw ang first landing in the moon. Kasi bakit hindi nasundan after the first one? It makes sense nga naman. Yeah, sige.
Alam niyo po, yung hindi totoong hindi nasundan. Tingnan niyo po mabuti and look at your history. Nasundan po yan. No? And they were going to make, there were some that were going to land, some were that were going to go into space. But there are other astronauts that landed. It was not just Armstrong and Aldrin and so on and so forth. But itong sinasabi nilang first hoax yung landing in the moon. Ito po yung mga klaseng tao na gustong mag-fake news para linlangin ang mga populasyon na hindi po nangyari. Nangyari po yan. We were watching, I was a young person then, but we were watching talagang ganyan. Ang pinanood ko po yung Discovery Channel na yung
may
pinalabas
report,
silang special report na sinasabi it was a hoax. And then I looked at the actual footage of that. Yung sinasabi nila kasi, bakit daw kumukulubot daw yung bandila ng Amerikano.
Wala naman hangin.
Wala naman hangin. Pero kung titignan nyo po yung bandila, meron po talagang, meron ganito, may frame. May frame.
Yes.
Tapos, pero nung binaba yun, kulubot na po yung yung bandera, no? Pero hindi gumagalaw, hindi gumaganyan, no? Basta it was just fixed na kulubot. Kaya itong mga iba pang nangyari kasi meron daw harness, kaya nakakatalon-talon daw yan. All of that is fake news. Ang mensahe po nila, no? Huwag kayong maniwala dyan, no? Ang tao, walang kakayanan gumawa niyan, no? Don't believe in human creativity, no? Just focus on your life here on earth. That is what these people want. They are the same people that are going around telling everybody now that the earth is flat, no? Flat lang po daw yung earth. Ngayon, alam nyo po, about 400 or 500 years ago, maybe even more, di ba?
Yeah, 300 years before.
Yeah, about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Meron yun, ganyan. The earth is flat, no? And siyempre, marami, lalo na ngayon.
During the Dark Ages.
Dark Ages. Meron mga nagsasabing ganito, ganyan, at hindi po ito. However, there were scientists who were proving and kept on proving that the earth was round. Even 250 years before the birth of Christ, there was this man called Eratosthenes, no, who proved that the earth was round. Not only did he prove it, he measured it. He measured the circumference of the earth, no, using simple geometry. Because siya po, he was standing in Aswan Dam in
Alexandria.
Near Alexandria, no? At nag-ano siya, meron siyang ginawang I will not be able to present it now, right? We need pero prove niya that the circumference of the earth was
it is round.
It was round,
And he
and
measured
it was
50 miles off.
Yeah. His computation of the circumference of the Earth was only 50 miles off today's computation with all of the scientific equipment. Ang diferensya nila is only 50 miles.
Yeah.
This is the quality of human beings.
Right. I think you should research that and research more about Eratosthenes.
Yeah.
Ano yung spelling yan?
Eratosthenes.
Eratosthenes. Basta sa Greece.
Eratosthenes.
Yeah, you can Google him po. And also, pag binasa niyo po yung buhay ni Eratosthenes, you will also look at Alexandria and what Alexander the Great wanted to establish dyan sa Egypt po. Maganda po yung story niya. So, magandang pag-usapan rin one day.
Meron po kaming 3-part series dito, Rise and Shine. We have a 3-part series lecture on this by Cody Jones. Isa pong kasamahan namin sa LaRouche na pumunta dito at nagbigay ng classes. Tatlong ano lang po, tigi 1 oras, no? Very, very interesting. We will announce it again and we will replay it.
Where can they find that there? YouTube?
Nasa YouTube na.
Archives on YouTube. I-search nyo lang sa YouTube natin.
Okay, but we can also play it one of these days, no?
Okay. Johnny Depp, pa-shoutout po watching right now. Hello, Johnny Depp pala. Johnny Depp. Bisaya na Johnny Depp. Bear Archivido, Rise and Shine. Meron pang documentary na kung saan nire-refute ni Neil Armstrong ang mga ganyang paninira. Hindi po ilang beses lang ginawa yan. 13 times po yata. Tama si Bear. I mean, you should do more research pag may lumabas na ganyan. So, research lang. Marami dyan. Mahanap nyo lang. Andro Felizardo, yes. Avelino Bautista Jr., gandang gabi po. Makikilang po ako. Salamat. Anacela Watson, si Bongbong Marcos po, binigyan siya ni President Nixon ng ticket to the moon when he was young. Wow. June Corban, problem po di kasi thinking race ang Pilipino. Hindi parehas naman na nasa abroad na nakaranas ng paano nilang patakbuhin ang bansa nila. Sad. Sir, dito po sa Korea, 70K isang buwan sweldo, 250 peseya per hour po. Dito maraming pong nuclear power plant, 23 po. Tapos di naman sila naging magaling sa English. Ha ha ha. Sa atin, hinayupak sila munsod framers ng 1987 prostitution. Correct. You're right. But I want to take exception. Think ang lahat ng tao po may capability to think. It's not a matter of race kasi Pilipino ka, Indian, or African. Lahat po pwede pag binigyan ng opportunity to study it and to learn about the great ideas and to recreate those ideas in your head and in experiments in school, proper education system. Lahat po may abilidad to magpadala ng tao sa Mars. Yun ang tinatawag natin created in the image and likeness. And ang Pilipino, nauna po yan sa 1980s. Pero yun na nga, dahil sa politiko, tinanggal. Sinira tayo. So, Andrew Oti de la Cruz, may balita na dahil sa pagkapanalo ni Madam Lenny, ay naabsuelto si Latigo Andy. Ibig daw sabihin ay walang naging dayaan ng smart magic kung last election. Bakit nga ba hindi umuwi yung buisit na Latigo?
Tanong po natin kay President Duterte.
Yeah. Ang connect kasi, ayaw nila ang sistema ng humanity. The deep state don't like human beings. The Canaanites don't consider themselves human. At ang IMF, ang reserve nila wealth of humanity. The deep state evil was selfish. Yan, same guy. Virginia Malonzo, good evening po sa inyo, Sir Butch, watching from Pasig. John Cyril Onato, wow, ganda ng view sa planet Mars. Good evening mga sir. Hindi po yan yung that's a computer simulation. Pero, nagpadala na po, and you can look it up on YouTube, And on the internet, nagpadala na po, punta kayo sa NASA, yung website ng NASA, nagpadala na po ng mga pictures.
Magaganda.
Magaganda pa rin. Pero parang disyerto na. Pero at least, alam na natin yung mukha ng Mars. BBM na lang ako for President 2022. Skeptic Bear, kung sakali po ma-activate, safe po ba yung planta?
Of course.
Of course.
Very much so.
It was safe when it was built.
Yeah. Right now, that's probably the safest nuclear power plant ever. No?
Yeah.
Meron pong 4 na kasabayan sa South Korea, sa Brazil, saka sa Slovenia. No? Yung pong kakambal nitong ating plantang ito, mga sa South Korea, they are almost annually recipients of awards in safety, in efficiency, in all kinds of other
This is
things.
Westinghouse plant. Sorry.
This is the Westinghouse plant na model nitong ating Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Ngayon, ang sinasabi ko lang, yung model natin, no, lalo pang matibay yan. Kasi hindi agad pinaandar ni Marcos, pinatibay niya pa. No? Ang sabi niya, wag mo na lang paandarin yan. So it took another 2 years to ready to run it. Because naniniguro po si Marcos. Sayang nga kung napaandar niya nung
Baka
hindi na mahirap nang isara ni Corazon Aquino. Pero anyway, ganyan po ang nangyari, so wala tayong magawa.
Joanne Undoy, all of these technologies are just temporary. God will destroy them all once final judgment comes. Hindi na sila nasiyahan sa tinatamasa nila. Naghahangad sila ng labis. Don't know what she means. Marisa Pineda, walang creatures sa Mars. Sa Earth lang ginawa ang mga creatures. Ang ibang planeta dapat hindi tinitirhan ng tao. Pag ang tao naninirahan sa ibang planeta, mamamatay dahil sa sakit lang doon. Hindi fit para sa tao manirahan sa Moon or Mars. Dapat discovery lang ang purpose nila. Nothing more. Well, let's see.
Tingnan po natin. Alam nyo, we don't, pero ang maganda kasi sa tao, what's her name?
Paakyat.
Ang maganda sa human beings, Marisa, meron tayong kakayanan mag-adapt. No? Meron tayong kakayanan mag-adapt dito sa mga iba-ibang lugar na ito kung paano pwede tayong mabuhay. At hindi natin malalaman kung paano tayo mag-a-adapt doon kung hindi natin nararanasan ang actual conditions doon.
Raf XB, amazing. And to think that the rover was supposed to have been a concept by a Filipino. We did nothing except to suppress the progress of the Filipino ingenuity. It is not the destination is the point, my people. It is the journey that counts. Pag-isipan nyo yan. Tama, Sir Chairman. The Cory era destroyed their Filipino future. How can we glorify such people? Libre na dapat ang tubig inuminat sa BNPP. Natalo ang Aquino government sa lahat ng kaso against Mr. Marcos. Tayo ang nagbabayad ng kanilang kasakiman. I agree, mga sir, science equals development. We do not have a science-driven program to uplift the country. Kaya no science, no development. Gutom. Correct.
100% accurate.
Common sense. Alfredo Redina, different minerals from Mars can be used by humanity in different ways to ease living on planet Earth. Different chemicals coming up for human use. Also, new inventions coming up to ease human living in planet Earth. Correct.
Ganyan po talagang pwede mangyari. Katulad po itong pagdala ng first man on the moon. There's so many materials. Pati na yung nagagamit natin ngayon na microwave ovens, yung mga ganyan. Nanggaling po dun sa
cellphone.
Pag-research nila. Pati cellphones.
Cellular technology, everything.
Lahat po nanggaling sa ganyan.
Ang punto dyan is you have to have a goal, di ba? A scientific goal para lahat ng energy nyo, lahat ng resources, lahat ng brain power, nakatutok dyan how to solve that challenge. Yun lang yun. And then as you go, you discover new things about the universe.
Right.
So that's the way. Maria Esther Sunit, your topics are very informative, always watching.
Thank you.
Giancarlo Iway, this talks about the truth slipping out on the vaccines. Okay, may meron siyang link. Lourdes Nakajima, pangmayaman lang yan. Jean Tonic, good evening po, watching from London. Okay, Coffee Pen, good evening ka, Butch. Sir, bakit di pa rin natatalakay, di ba po, ba meron tayong nuclear plant sa Bataan? Good evening po sa inyong dalawa, Butch at Saritos. I don't know.
Well, inutos na po ng presidente yan, pero parang nagsasarsuela lang sila. Kasi itong si Energy Secretary Cusi, 4 na taon niyang pinapag-aralan yan. Ang sagot ni Cusi palagi sa press conference, we are studying this, we are studying that. 4 years he's been saying this.
Yeah.
He is a liar, no? He's really a liar.
Every year, nagpa-press release siya.
Ang bossing niyan ay si Aboitiz at sila at yung mga iba pang nasa power industry sa electricity.
Ernie Ocampo, good evening po, Prof. Butch Valdes, and of course to Sir Itos Valdes. Mabuhay po kayo at sa KPP. Thank you. Marisa Pineda, kaya nga po ginawa ang Earth kasi po para tirhan ng mga tao. Bakit pa kailangan manirhan sa Mars? May mga dangers sa ibang planeta. Di kasi yun ginawa para sa habitat ng human. Dapat, ang purpose lang nila sa Moon ay mag-search ng ibang life at ibang planeta. Nothing more. Moods. Ano yun this? Omi? Siya ba? Omi Sanggalang. Tommy Sanggalang. Lahat ng ginawa ng Aquino, Cory at Abnoy, puro kademonyahan, puro bayad tayo sa pangkansela ng kontrata, puro ang kumita ang mga kasama nila. Butch Carabin, ganda gabi po sirs kung pinapagtuloy lang ang mga project ng dating Pangulo Marcos gaya ng mga technology and research, ay malamang na di mahuhuli ang ating bansa. Watching from UAE. Yes, correct. Arok Alip, someone predicted that once man lands on the moon and comes back to Earth, he'll be taking with him a dangerous virus that will kill millions of human beings. I don't know.
Those are the people that don't want science.
Yes,
No?
it's fear.
They fear-mongering yan eh.
No, sinasabi nila, wag
Huwag nyo lang gawin yan kasi
nakakatakot.
Huwag na kayo pumunta sa Mars. Nakakatakot, mamamatay lang kayo dyan eh. Hindi natin kakayahan. Pag ganyan po talaga ang ating, wala na po tayong madidiscover dito sa ating universe. At tayo, napaka-powerful ang binigay sa atin ng ating Panginoon eh. It is the power of creativity.
Right.
Yung power na yan, with our own minds, if we work together, we can discover how the universe works. No?
Imagine.
Can you imagine that? No. We can, and without discovering how we don't know what processes we can use for our scientific development. No? So wala pong hayop na nilalang na may ganyang quality. No?
Yes.
Yung mga tiyonggo, ganyan pa rin sila. No? Hanggang ngayon, pareho pa rin yung tiyonggo. Mga aso, ganyan. Pero ang tao, makikita nyo, iba po ang nangyari dyan. Nung na-discover niya po ang paggamit ng apoy, no? When he saw the beneficial use of fire, nung kiniskis niya yung kahoy, lumiyab. Nung ginanyan niya yung bato, nagkaroon ng spark. When he discovered the use of fire, that one led to the discovery of other sources of energy. At dahil nagkaroon siya ng fire, nakita niya na pwedeng tunawin itong batong maitim. At ginawa niya pong tools. Dahil pag matigas na yon, nakakahukay siya. At ganyan po ang development. Pagkatapos, nagagawa siya ng mga iba-ibang mga gamit. natuklasan niya, sa kakahukay niya, nakatuklasan naman siya ng coal. No? Yung coal, nakita niya, pag dinikit mo sa apoy, umiinit. Pero yung tindi ng init niya, mas matagal. Kasi yung apoy, nauubos agad. Pero yung tindi ng coal, mas matagal. Coal, para po siyang bato lang. No? So, yung source of energy niya, kakaiba. Ibang siyensya yan. Pero natuklasan niya yung coal. From coal, he developed many things. He develops tools, iba-ibang klaseng machine tools. Tapos nakadevelop siya ng steam engine. No? Yung steam engine niya nagbigay ng improvement of the quality of life of people. And because of his development of coal, nagkaroon din siya ng mga equipment para ma-discover niya ang oil. Ang coal tsaka oil, kakaiba pong siyensya niyan. So yung oil is another source of energy. Tapos yung oil na maitim na gumaganyan, nagagamit po, nagiging tawag dito kanya. Okay. Pagkita mo po, tataas po yung oil. Tapos na-develop po, nakita po natin from oil tsaka natural gas, we were able to discover nuclear fission. Okay? Ano po bakit po pataas yan? Bakit pataas yung graph na yan? Kasi po, every time we discover a new source of energy, no, it has an impact on our ability to sustain a larger population. Kanya pataas po yan. That's why we are now 7 billion people and we should actually be much more, no? And compared to how we were, maybe a few hundred at the time they discovered wood, no? Or stones, no? Ganyan po ang development ng human beings. We have minds. We have the power of creativity. The only thing also we have that our Creator had given us is we have the power to love. So that once we discover these new things, no, we always think of our fellow men, that they must benefit from our discoveries. This is a quality that cannot be found in animals. We can only find that quality in God, the source of our power.
Lagalag na waray. Good evening to all Katipuneros watching from Riyadh, KSA. Sayang mga projects ni Apo Lakay, binaliwala lang ng Coricong at mga alipores niya. Ver Archivido, grabe lakas ng Wi-Fi, fiber, nakapagpapadala ng photos mula sa Mars papuntang Earth. Paano yon? It's radio waves. And it's 7 minutes, 8 minutes delayed. But pwedeng i-research. Maganda nga panoorin yung NASA and they explain the technology. Kaya meron silang sequence doon na pag-landing, sobra silang takot. Tinatawag nila 7 minutes of hell. Kasi wala silang contact sa hindi nila alam kung sumabog na siya o hindi, yung minutong yun. So, sobra silang ninenervyos. That's why nung nag-landing na, nagpadala ulit ng mensahe na touchdown, dun sila nag-celebrate. Yun yun. So, Stormy Savi, pwede po padala na po si Lenny sa Mars. Mauna na po siya. Magnegosyo po siya ng lugaw. May science po pero hindi naman po ina-apply ng mga desisyon. Tulad ng IATF, hindi science-based ang mga protocols. Pwede po ba mag-comment po kung bakit ang mga oligarka hindi makontento sa yaman nila? Gusto pa lalo yumaman. Takot ba sila sa kabal? Para po, can you bring it up? Para po sa akin, yung pong pagbagsak ng Pilipinas, hanggang sa ngayon, pinakamalaking parte nito ang influence ng media. Kaya dapat sila unahing mawala. Okay, comment?
Yes, well, ang media po talagang importante yan, no? Meron pa nga sinabi si Alexander Hamilton tungkol sa press, no? It was by the press that the morals of this country have been ruined. It should be by the press that the morals be restored, no? Parang double-edged sword yan. Pwedeng gumawa ng mabuti, pwedeng gumawa ng masama. Kaya kinakailangan, meron tayong liderato na marunong magpataw ng kanyang mga utos. Ngayon, etong sinasabi tungkol sa ano na yung isa pa, meron.
Bakit yung IATF?
Etong mga oligarko, hindi ba sila kontento sa kanilang yaman? Alam niyo po, greed does not have limits. When you say somebody is greedy, wala pong ano yan, wala pong boundary kung hindi na siya magiging greedy. No? Ang greed talagang patuloy-tuloy. Ang negosyante pong ganito, itong mga oligarkong to, hindi naman po lahat ng mayayaman mga oligarko. Sinasabi natin ditong oligarko, yung mga tumanggap ng mga kontratang pang public utilities, no? At ginamit nila ito para talagang alam nila makakapatay sila ng tao, pero ganyan pa rin. At ang binigay sa kanila nila Ramos, nila Gloria na negosyo, talagang inano nila, pinagsamantalahan talaga nila. Alam naman nila Gloria at Ramos yan kasi di natin alam kung ano ang kanilang pinag-usapan. Pero ang oligarko po, para pong hayop yan, parang aso. Kung saan siya, bigyan mo ng kung ano man pagkain, lalamunin at uubusin na yan. Wala siyang pakialam kung mga iba hindi pa nakakain o ano, pero talagang lalamunin niya. Pero meron pa rin silang silbi. Kaya sinasabi po natin, yung mga oligarko, pag tinanggal mo sa public utilities, dahil lalamunin po tayo niyan tanggalin mo sila para mabuhay tayo. At ilagay mo sila sa mga industriya na papakinabangan ng lahat. Ito pong sinasabi natin ng mga sa pharmaceuticals, sa agriculture, sa bakal at lahat pa. Yun
Okay. Marisa Pineda, malabo mangyari yan sa bansa natin na nilapastangan kasi ng mga dilawan ang pamamalakad sa gobyerno. Yung edukasyon natin, pinasara malabo mangyari yan sa sitwasyon natin dito sa bansa. Magandang project yung nuclear power plant, kaso nilapastangan lang ng mga dilawan, binenta lahat. Kaya nakandasira-sira ang ekonomiya natin. Puro mahal lahat, tubig, kuryente. Can you bring it up?
Alam po natin ganyan, no? Pero wag po kayong mawawalan ng pag-asa dahil nakakapag-isip pa rin po tayo. Nung alam natin na itong nangyari, then alam din natin kung paano natin ipipihit para nakatutok tayo sa tamang direksyon. Kakayanan po natin yan. Hindi na, wala nang masyadong halaga na tinuturuan natin mga kagaguhan ng mga dilawan, no? Mga gagot talaga yan. Huwag na natin masyadong problemahin yan at makakasuhan yan, baka makukulong pa sila. Pero dapat mag-isip tayo forward. Let us think forward. Let us plan for the future of our country.
May continuation. Ang tanong kung sakaling manalo sa 2022 election si BBM, Bongbong Marcos, sa tingin nyo, itutuloy niya kaya ang nuclear power plant? May posibilidad talaga kasi sa tingin ko, pag nanalo si Bongbong Marcos, baka ituloy niya ang nuclear power plant.
Sana po. Pero hindi po basta-basta ganyan. Kanya at sana po talaga, ang gusto ko sanang sundan niya yung direksyon ng kanyang ama. Isa sa mga dapat gawin niya itong sa mga oligarko. Kung siya po ay maninindigan sa pagkakalas ng stranglehold ng mga oligarko sa taong bayan, magagawa niya po yan pagpapaandar ng nuclear power plant at matutulungan niya po hindi lang ang mga mamamayang Pilipino, maipipihit niya po ang direksyon ng ating bansa.
Right.
Yan po ang dapat niyang gawin. Hindi basta-basta porque Marcos siya mananalo. Kinakailangan po sabihin niya ano ba ang kanyang programa. Sang-ayon ba siya dito sa programa? For example, namin, kung tatanong sa amin, susuporta ba natin si Bongbong? Sabi ko, madaling suportahan yan kung itutulak niya ang programa na itinutulak po ng KDP. No? Kasi lahat po ng ibang partido ngayon, walang programa. Usisain niyo po yung mga PDP laban, yung mga liberal, yung mga nasyonalista, yung mga PUP, wala po silang programa. Wala po silang mga solusyon na ilinalabas. Ang KDP lang po, hindi po sa pagyayabang, pero ito po ang katunayan. Ang KDP is the only party with a solution not just to survive, but to develop.
Okay, Lemmy Rojas.
Si Lemmy.
Nuclear, the most friendly energy. It does not produce CO2. It does not produce CO2 and the most reliable.
That's right. Si Lemmy Rojas po, siya po yung head convener ng Save the Nation movement, nagtutulak ng nuclear power plant.
Okay. Si Rafi Gutierrez, sa klase ko to. Hi, Itos and Tito Butch. Nakakatawa yung mga flat earthers. Kahit anong facts ipakita natin, talagang pinapanindigan nila yung maling paniniwala. Kaya bad trip silang kausap. Yan ang talagang kulto. Feeling mga matatalino dahil gusto daw nilang itama ang mali. Pero sila mismo, hindi nila makita. Walang scientific basehan ng paniniwala nila.
Tama.
Correct, Raf. Jaime Martin, shout out po and I salute Miss Vivian at sumama siya sa ipinapaglaban ng tunay na kamao.
Thank you.
Wilfredo Opeñano, sorry po, limas na po yun lamang ng Bataan Nuclear Plant.
Alam mo, I was there, we lived there. My place is only 10 minutes away from the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. I have gone to that plant, gone up and down that plant, maybe no less than 5 times, Wilfredo. And that plant is very viable. The turbine is being maintained. It's being rotated at a certain pace so that it does not sag. No, but we need to fix up some of the exits for the water and some tubings, no, that need to be
And instrumentation.
the instrumentation will not be a problem because you just pull out and then salpak mo yung bagong mga computers.
I-digitalize.
No need. As a matter of fact, we thought that it will be analog kasi yon. We thought that it will be better if we digitalized. Alam nyo po, dun sa Japan mismo, out of the 54 nuclear power plants they have, 50 are still in analog. Kasi po talagang nung ginawa yan, no,
80s, 90s.
hindi pa digital no, kanya analog pa. So sabi nila, maski na analog, mapapatakbo natin yan.
Nor Carillo, okay, kung may moon landing, saan ang picture ng moon rover? Okay, bakit ang mga Russian din nakaland sa moon? I think
So Mars po ang pinag-uusapan natin.
yeah, I
Mars.
think he's questioning the
moon.
yung fake moon landing. So well, I think we can do. There's a lot of material on those things.
I don't think Russia went and landed in the moon after the US started to land already.
Nauna sila eh.
Nauna sila. Tapos, pero yung makikita mo sa moon, nakuha na at na-share na yung
Pero
scientific information.
Nauna sila
sa
space.
orbit.
Yes.
Oo.
Si Gagarin.
Si Gagarin. Sputnik.
John's.
Yung una, wala si Gagarin, pero Sputnik.
Yeah, and now Russia and the U.S. scientists have been collaborating and all of the NASA projects and many po around the world. John Cyril Onato, okay yun na. Sana doon na lang manirahan sila nilugaw sa planet Mars. Ang tanong, may kapitbahay ba siya doon? Sana doon na lang mag-space travel yung mga taga-DOH at UP sa San. Puro pananakot yung ginagawa nila sa atin sa COVID. Joke lang. Pesteng yawa talaga mga oligago, dilawan groups, demon crabs at globalist cabal. Mga mukhang pera at manggamahan. Gamahan sa posisyon. Ang kanilang lockdown na ginawa ay economic suicide. Correct. William Laguno, isusunod naman daw si Ninong, doon na din siya. Paniniwala tayong mapanganib, pinaniniwala tayong mapanganib ang may nuclear. Bakit sa Japan, napinsala pa ng lindol, di man lang naging panganib sa kanila. Ngayon, babayaran na lang ang buhay natin mga Pilipino pag nadisgrasya tayo sa ituturo nila. Tama. Lourdes Nakajima, may mayayaman din titira kasama yung UFO. Alam nila na delikado ang vaccine, bakit gusto pa nilang ituloy ang vaccine na yan? Correct. Mel Elizalde, good evening po, watching from San Pedro, Laguna. Dakilang adikain ang inyong masugid na pagpapaliwanag sa ating mga kababayan na mga bagay na nagpapahalaga para sa pamunlad ng ating bansa. Mabuhay po kayo.
Salamat.
Lourdes Nakajima, walang hiya talaga yung Cory na yan sa impyerno yan. Wait, I want to emphasize this. Si Cory was used as an instrument to change the direction of our policies, economic policy. Pero tinuloy po ng sumusunod sa kanya. Ramos, Gloria, Erap, and so on. Lahat sila tinuloy po nila yon. So, if we're going to say dilawan nila, lahat po sila magkasama. And until now, tinutuloy pa rin ang policy. So, ano yung kaibahan? Right? So, when we say dilawan, yes, alam na natin yon. And these forces. Pero ang cancer po, kumalat na po sa lahat. Walang kakulay-kulay yung mga yan. Lahat sila, if they have the same policy, they believe in the same things, lahat sila magkakulay.
Kada presidente po, hindi na pwedeng sasabihin, hindi ako nag-umpisa niyan yung nakaraan ng presidente. Dahil siya ang presidente ngayon, anong gagawin niya?
Yes.
Iibahin niya ba o hindi? No? Kung hindi niya iibahin, di siya na rin ang nagpapasira sa ating bansa. Hindi po ba?
Yep. Joey Katakutan, good evening father and son. Lourdes Nakajim, walang yan talaga yung Cory niyan, nasa impyerno na yan. Gene Tonic, Sir Butch, Mr. Ko, mahilig manood ng ganyan, mga ganyan. Kasi
ganyan.
Dahil sila sa telecommunications engineer siya.
Okay.
Good. I can't read the name. Alex Torres, ano ba sa palagay niyo kung bakit ayaw pang ipatupad ni Digong Article 12? Siguradong alam niya yan. Thanks po, God bless.
Dalawa lang po pwede natin isipin dyan Isa, natatakot siya gawin dahil maski na alam niyang makakabuti yan sa ating mga mamayan, natatakot siya dahil malalaki ang kabangga niyang mga oligarko. Pangalawa, wag naman sana hindi niya gagalawin ng oligarko dahil mga kaibigan niya.
Yep. Marwa Cornell, good evening po from Egypt. Ano po ang plano ng Kamao kung walang action si PRRD sa Article 12?
Alam niyo po, nakakalungkot yan dahil ang kinabukasan po natin, palagay ko, talagang pasama ng pasama. Ang sinabi po namin na kung hindi niya ayusin na Article 12 ngayon, no, Ang ine-estimate namin po, ako po, ang ine-estimate ko, siguro by the end of 2021, 10 million people's lives are facing imminent death. No? And then by 2022, it will be even worse. No? Tatandaan niyo po dito, wala pong nagbibilang kung ilan ang namamatay. Ayaw nilang bilangin.
Yep.
Bibilangin nila yung may COVID kuno. Kasi yan ang pangkolekta nila sa PhilHealth.
Yeah.
Pero yung mga namamatay po, hindi nila binibilang yan. You will just have to estimate it. Ang estimation ko po ganito. Out of the COVID deaths that we are experiencing now, for every one COVID death, there are at least 20 Filipinos that will die of other sicknesses because of induced poverty. Yung pinilit sila, hindi na nila kaya. Mataas ang bilihin ng pagkain, ng gamot, at ng lahat na hindi nila kaya. At pakonti ng pakonti ang kinakain nila, magkakasakit at tuluyan ng mamamatay. So yun po, ang epekto nitong COVID lockdowns. No? Dahil nasirado na yung mga negosyo. Maski na sabihin mo na bakuna ka ngayon at buksan nila yung mga negosyo bukas, hindi po basta-basta ganyan. Yung pong nagsira na, hindi po basta-basta makakapagbukas ulit.
Correct.
Naintindihan niyo po. At kasi po negosyo yan. It takes months and months and even years to get it moving again.
And more money.
And more money. Uutang pa sila, makakautang ba sila? Yung mga ganyan. Kaya pag po kayong pagoyo, delikadong-delikado po ang ating economic situation ngayon. You know, we are facing right now something equivalent to the Great Depression. Yung Great Depression po sa bansang Amerika, nangyari po yan noong 1929 hanggang 1933. Nung tinawag siyang Great Depression, ano po ang unemployment rate nila noon? Ang unemployment rate po ng Amerika nung Great Depression is 50% unemployed. Ang unemployed po dito sa ating Pilipinas, looking at our working population, is more than 50%. Nung nagkaroon po ng Great Depression sa Amerika, balita po, ang dami pong nagpapakamatay, no? Marami na mamatay sa gutom at marami din nagpapakamatay tumatalon sa mga buildings, no? Dito po, wala tayong masyadong buildings, pero marami pong nagpapakamatay na rin.
Justin, good evening sir, mabuhay po kayo. Okasa Inada, good evening mga sir, watching from Tokyo. Mel Elizalde, napakalawak po ang pagpapaliwanag niyo tungkol sa kahalagaang na idudulot sana ng nuclear power plant ng Rehimeng Marcos. Mabuhay po kayo. Peter Tant, emoji. Frederico Mana, malaki pala ang naging kasalanan ni Cory sa bayan. Tapos nanalo pa ang anak niya si Noynoy, kasabwat ng mga Illuminati, kabal. Sila ang mga taksil sa bayan at mga alipores ang corrupt officials sa loob ng 3 dekada. Pero sa media, mabango ang balitang nagawa nila. Ngayon, nakita na ang mga kapalpakan nila. Hindi sila tunay na mga patriotikong Pilipino. Never naman sila naging patriotiko. Even their grandfather. Di ba? World War II, collaborator.
Sa Hapon.
Okay? Meron pang mga nakita ko, I just wanna say, sa internet, makikita nyo, o sa Facebook, I think Old Philippines yung site. Makikita nyo, may mga video pa na may political party silang itinayo during the Japanese occupation na nagsasabi, parang ang objective nila, para i-educate yung mga Pilipino na okay yung Japanese occupation. Yan, si Ignoy. Ignoy, di ba? Ignoy. Alfredo Redina, Marcos thought of Asian dollars. South Korea imitated Marcos, now exporting nuclear power plant to Middle East. Lourdes Call, good evening Katipunan. Naalala ko po ang isang Pilipino mga sir na nagpakalat ng I love you virus. Napakatalino at napa-shutdown niya ang internet doon. Sana makasolusyon siya about COVID-19. Sana mahanap siya para makatulong kung totoo ba ang COVID na ito. Lagalag na waray. Wala talaga mabuting na itutulong mga dilawan sa Pilipinas. Pahirap ang Pilipino, ang salot ng Liberal Party na yan. Lalo na yung mga Aquino. You have to again realize sino yung mga nasa likod ng mga to. And when we talk about Soros Revolution, kasama niya po si Malok Brown. Sino yung mga kakampi nila? Sino yung mga pinupondohan nila ngayon? Yan ang dapat tignan natin. Marisa Buyaw, the more I heard about Bataan Nuclear Power Plant from you, nanlulumok po ako. Siguro kung natuloy yan, walang maraming nanay na nagpapaalila sa abroad. Tama. Wala siguro masyadong maraming nasirang pamilya. Pray ko talaga, sana maiparating lahat ng video nyo kay PRRD. Tama po, tama po, kayo lang ang partido na may wagas na pagmamahal sa taong bayan.
You're correct po in the sense that talaga pag napaandar po natin sana yung Marisa yung nuclear power plant, no? We would not have pushed so much for people to need to go abroad. Kasi pag dumandar po yung nuclear power plant, hindi lang po ibig sabihin yan mumura ang kuryente. Pag napaandar po yung nuclear power plant, magtatayo po mga maraming factory. Kasi yung mga factory po gawaan ng bakal, gawaan po ng pharmaceutical, hindi po mapapaandar yung mga factory na yan using solar o kaya wind. Ang solar tsaka wind, pang ilaw lang po yan. No? Pero hindi po magagamit ng mga factories. Ang kinakailangan po natin yung base load katulad po ng nuclear. So magtatayuan po ang negosyo at may trabaho po dito, hindi sila kailangan maging alila abroad. No? At ang tama po kayo, hindi po sana masisira ang mga pamilya. Kasi pag alis ng isang magulang o dalawang magulang, paano naman yung anak nila? Sino magpapalaki? Kanya lumalaki yan sa layaw. Lumalaki sa ibang mga lugar at tumataas tuloy ang ating crime rate, di ba?
Maraming
social costs.
Yes, maraming social costs besides from the economic cost, no, social cost. But also yung nuclear power plant, ang daming industriya manganganak dahil diyan. Mabubuhay. Danny Vino, kung ganon may hangin sa Mars, yes. It's just thinner than, based on NASA's video, Danny, it's thinner than the atmosphere here, yung air. Kaya yung helicopter po, dalawa. Ang what do you call LSC. Okay. Also, umiikot siya, I think, hindi ako kakamali pero i-correct niyo ako, 5 or 8 times faster than normal helicopter here. Kasi mas manipis yung hangin.
Kailangan mas
so yan ang sabi nila. So maganda pong pag-aralan, magandang pag-usapan.
By the way, meron akong gusto i-recommend sa inyo sine. Pwede sa Netflix o pwede sa YouTube. Ang pamagatang The Martian. Ang bida si yung mga
Matthew Damon.
Matt Damon. Siya yung bida, The Martian. Ang ganda po. Astronaut siya. Nagkaroon ng storm. Natapon siya. At naiwan siya nung kanilang raketa na nag-escape sa storm para bumalik na sa Earth. So mag-isa siya dito. No? Paano ngayon siya magso-survive? Ang ganda po, panoorin niyo po. Si Matt Damon. Galing.
Okay. Mr. Exit, ang sabi po ng mga waray noon na ang pangalan daw po ni Cory ay sumpa ang ibig sabihin. Kure meaning curse. And obviously, para tayong isinumpa, naging presidente siya. Angelo Solano, mayaman sa deuterium ang Pilipinas. Kaya rin natin magpagawa ng maraming nuclear power plants.
Tapusin natin.
Ang kurikong pag-unlad ng Pilipinas. Correct. Mr. Exit, sadly mga sir, demokrasya dahil nagagawa nila lahat ng pangangamkam ng lahat ng pag-aari ng mga Pinoy. Jacqueline, Sir Bolshevik, dapat matutunan ng lahat ng mga tao sa ating bansa ang ginawa nilang nagdaang mga presidente ng Pilipinas dahil hindi itinuloy ang programa ni Marcos para sa kinabukasan ng mamamayang Pilipino. Luis Cayabyab. Tayo ay naghirap ng 30 years sa ginawa nilang pagsisinungaling sa bayan, kaya tayo ang naghihirap hanggang ngayon. Salamat. Angelo Solano, sira ulo talaga hinayupak na ulupong piduts. Pamor, WTH. Kent Kulitz, gising na taong bayan sa mga ginawang pagnanakaw at black propaganda ng mga Aquino at ang mga tayong dilawan Bongbong Marcos for President 2022. Anon, yang indemnification bill nakasingit din po dyan ng COVID passport. Senate Bill 2057, pina-fast track na nila. Malacanang Palace, Mindanao, Philippines. Sir, nung nag-trending ang katagang nasaan ng Pangulo, sabi na Malacanang na nag-attend si PRRD sa World Economic Forum at news, ano ang sinang-ayunan nila? Sa isip ko, yun na nga ang depopulation. Mr. Exit, Malacanang Palace, Mindanao, Philippines. Kung sumasang-ayon si PRRD sa depopulation, di mauna na siyang mamatay na sa Malacanang Palace, Mindanao, Philippines. Public daw ang babakunahan siya, pero madali naman dayaan at itutusok sa kanya. Lolokohin na naman tayo. Fortunato Reyes, good PM Katipunan, naloko tayo ng EDSA Revolution nang pinatalsik nila si Marcos. Dahil ito raw ang diktador, gusto nilang maibalik ang demokrasya. Pero ang nangyari, malaking disgrasya ang inabot natin. Federico Mana, sana meron tayong batas ng pagtataksil sa bayan kung nakikipagsabwatan sa mga dayuhan para sa kanila, sariling interes nila ang maganda ang buhay. Kailangan may isang hindi politiko kagaya ni Trump ang mamuno sa ating bansa at bilyonaryo din at hindi compromise kahit kanino kundi sa taong bayan na kailangan suportado 100% ng military para maibalik lahat yan sa privatized na pag-aari dati sa gobyerno sa ating mamamayan. Jerry Magbag, di po ba delikado ang nuclear power? Earthquake prone po Pilipinas.
Alam niyo po, yung ang nuclear power plant po na natayo diyan dahil napakatatag. Sabi po ng mga civil engineers na nagtayo diyan, kaya pong mag-crash diyan maski dalawang 747 na eroplano, no? Hindi po masisira, hindi po mabubuwag. No? At yung mga nagsasabing may earthquake yan, according to Dr. Carlos Arcilla, isa po siyang dalubasang volcanologist tsaka geologist. Kilala po yan all around the world. No? Nagbibigay po ng mga lectures yan. Sabi niya, wala daw earthquake fault sa ilalim ng nuclear power plant. At sabi niya, kung man magkaroon ng earthquake at nandun ako sa Bataan, tatakbo ako sa loob ng nuclear power plant dahil yun ang pinaka-safe. Sabi niya. Ang nagsabi po nito ay si Dr. Carlos Arcilla. Siya po ngayon ang pinuno ng Nuclear Research Institute. Philippine Nuclear Research Institute.
So you can look him up or you can
Carlos Arcilla.
Tsaka na-discuss na yan ilang dekada, no? Ang pinapalabas nila Kasi itong mga anti-development, yung mga environmentalists, nagpapalabas ng mga spokesperson yan, yung mga campaigners. Yung pinalabas nila doon para masuportahan yung pagkasara ng nuclear power plant natin, ng BNPB, ay si Kelvin Rodolfo, remember? Siya yung parang dalubhasa na against, pero marami siyang sinasabi, against na marami daw earthquake, ito yung fault line, delikado daw yung Bataan nuclear power plant. Pero sinabi rin niya, anti-nuclear siya. Inamin na rin niya. So lahat ng kumbaga wala nang debate sa kanya, basta anti-nuclear siya.
Anti-nuclear siya, tsaka anti-science daw siya. Ang gusto niya, ang gagamitin daw ng mga magsasaka ay mga kalabaw. Huwag daw gagamit ng mga equipment at machines. No? Talagang gusto niya tayong bumalik dito sa backward. No?
Yeah.
At kung ganyan, hindi mo na mapapakain ng mga mamamayan mo. Yun yata ang gusto niya, mabawasan ng populasyon.
Hindi, kasama siya doon. Yan ang nila. Yan ang nilalabas niya mga tao. Okay, against nuclear dito sa Pilipinas. Freddy Oredina, Raz Mendoza, magandang gabi Sir Butch, Sir Itos. Freddy Oredina, why need to suffer side effects on persons with compromised immune system? Indemnification, not a responsibility of Big Pharma. Delay of Pfizer delivery is due to a clause for non-indemnification in the contract. After vaccination, the government will focus on what will happen after days, weeks, months, years. Nag-aalay na malaking pera para sa COVID, pera para sa may sakit na, pera para sa mga malusog at nagpapatakbo ng ekonomiya. Nel Sistara, yes, nuclear energy, geothermal energy, hydroelectric, biomass fuel for Philippine progress and development. Thank you, Prof. Butch and Mr. Itos. You're welcome. Yes, it should be part of the energy mix. And from where it's used, we have to exploit all the resources we have to increase our energy baseload. Freddy Oredina, the government is concerned about anticipated disease from nCoV-2. What are they doing on Pinoys already have diseases? Comorbidity, underlying access. Gloria Siebert, Guten Abend, Sir Butch, Sir Itos. Late na napanood sa replay from Germany. Guten Abend.
German.
Yan, okay, that's all. Medyo 9:40 na yata.
Okay. Sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito, sa Ating Katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DCXL Radio Mo Nationwide, kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan niyo kami ngayon, ang ora de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito po sa Ating Katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli, mga katipon, 7 to 9 p.m. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.